welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host
Andy Conduit Turner, back from my holidays. How you doing, Ben? And
back from your
everybody?
holidays, looking great, looking
Looking
good.
the
I
same
don't know
amount of
why I've
tan as
just
before I went away because I hide from the sun.
yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna compliment you on your skin tone, but a weird compliment to throw at someone, isn't it? And we're also joined by very special returning guest, horror writer Kim Morrison. Hello, welcome back to the show, Kim.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hello, you're most welcome. Uh, it's been a little while. It's been a minute since you've been on the
Yeah,
show.
I know. I was trying to remember how long it's been actually, but yeah, yeah, I've always got time to talk about Carrie sequels, so it was a fun time. But yeah,
Yeah, it was
diving in my
Always
love of
Carrie.
time to
something
talk.
else.
It was
Always
Carrie
time to
2,
talk
Colin the
about a
Rage.
Carrie
Yeah.
sequel or any film starring a young Mr. Joseph Quinn. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know. I've never seen Gladiator in my life, but will I be in the cinema to see
Oh my
Gladiator
God,
2?
yeah.
Yes,
I
I will
did
be.
see the images shared. He's looking a bit like, I don't know, like Joffrey. He's looking a bit like he's got like
Yeah,
little dyed
a bit
hair. Like
ginger, a bit evil. Yeah, looks fun.
definitely evil. He's pulling one of those faces, which is like, I'm absolutely
Oh,
raging about
is he
this.
the new Rude Emperor
It looks
from?
like
Yeah,
it,
there's
yeah.
there's like twin Rude Emperors apparently, and he's one of
Oh
them. I didn't
no!
recognize the other guy, but yeah, yeah.
But he's being
Queen.
nice man as well, right? He's the new Human Torch as well, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of glad because I wasn't sure. Was this his first film role? This one? Has he been in something else?
Um, he's been in a couple of things. He's been in Makeup, which was like a kind of horror
Hmm.
thing set at a caravan park, which was really good. Yeah, I think he's been in a kind of couple of things. I think this was his first big like cinema kind of blockbustery
Yeah.
type thing.
And in terms of like the next series of Stranger Things, we don't want to spoil the last series, really, but I guess we're kind of gonna have to. Are there genuine solid rumors about him maybe coming back in some way?
I mean, I my TikTok feed for the past like year and a half went just heavy, like Eddie Munson. So I have seen every single like potential theory that he could come back. My boyfriend plays like D&D, so he had a lot of like actual D&D lore to feed me about it. But I
Oh,
don't know how
right. Oh, wow.
realistic it
Okay.
is. Um and every time they ask Joseph Quinn, he's always like, I can't say because like why would he? It'd be lovely. I think it'd be great if he did, but like yeah, I guess we'll see. I won't go in too
Well,
too deep in that, but it'd be fun if he does come back.
Yeah, I feel like as a character that was so popular in the show, if there was any
Hmm.
way to bring him back, whether it's in, you know, flashbacks even that bring something there or something to bring the character back, I think it'd be worth because he was by far of the
Exactly.
last series one of the absolute standouts, I think, in terms of favorites. So maybe they
I was
will.
about to say, don't kill off like super popular characters for fear of this backlash. But then again, Stranger Things learned the hard way by killing off a character who wasn't really even in the show too much. And then the fandom that was attached to Barb, is that right, Barb?
Yeah,
The
Mhm.
Barb.
fandom that was attached to Barb, like bring her back, justice for Barb, all that stuff. It's just like anyone who dies in any way, they're like, well,
Mhm.
we like this character, let's keep him. And that kind
Maybe
of, I guess,
maybe Barb could come back in the last series as well. Like the big like Mind Flayer times two will be at the end, and then it'll get shot with a rocket launcher, and it'll be Barb like Ice Cube at the end of Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage. He's back.
I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy that ending rather than the inevitable 11 holds her arm out and has a nosebleed and everything's all right again. No, no,
She's
no.
bleeding from more bits of it as the series go on. For first, it was a single nosebleed, then it was a double nosebleed, then there was a bit of an eye bleed.
How are they going to pull the next one off? Because she's 35 now, isn't she? Wait,
I know
how old is
she
she?
haven't they, Stranger Things counts as horror chat. Haven't they had to, this is rumors, I'm not part of the production crew of Stranger Things, never claimed to be, but haven't they had to digitally de-age some of them? Because the thing is when you're working with children and teenagers is they grow quite significantly year on year.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think they did it a bit in the last season. I think you could tell like
Did
Mike
they?
and stuff, especially. Yeah, I think so. I think a little bit. But yeah, I imagine it'll be even worse because that was a solid like 2 years ago that season finished because it was last time I went to see Green Day and I've just been to see Green Day again, so that's the only reason I remember. So yeah, God, they'll be like a whole chunk older
You
and
can
taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to have to
only
put
keep
like
track
big
of the passage of
lollipops in their
time.
hands, little hats with propellers on them so they look younger.
Oh dear.
Stick braces on them.
Stick braces on them. I don't know. Um,
All like
when is that
shoes on the
supposed to happen?
knees.
Is it this year, next year that we're getting
I think it's
Stranger
end
Things?
of next year, I heard, but I can never trust things that I see because the amount of like fake posters and stuff. But I think I heard it
Oh
was
my
maybe like
God.
they've just
Fake
started filming, so
fake posters with terribly or like fake trailers where someone's taken bits
mm.
from another film or something. You go, come on now. And people are sharing it and saying, this looks great. No.
Feel like this is the biggest thing, Ben, of all the things that wherever you look on your feeds, whether it's in Facebook or any of your other socials or even like professional networks, and people are going, "Oh, AI, man, it's going to change everything. It's going to be like sliced bread. The world's going to be different." The only impact I'm really seeing is that dog shit fake trailers come out at a rate so fast now that I like
Yeah.
literally like most of my life scrolling through any social media is just deciding which accounts I'm going to mute and block for like it's awful. Like,
Yeah. But I've
woe betide like any actual serious things like, government secrets are faked or anything. I'm just sick of the like fake trailers. And it's always like completely incomprehensible things. And my other favorite thing is imagine if this film was made in the 50s. Well, it wasn't. Stop. I don't care to imagine this film was made in the past, all right?
there's the Avengers if it was cast in the 80s. Oh yeah. I
That is
think the
like
point
perfect pub chat. I don't need you to generate it. Just have a chat
Yeah.
about it. Come
Oh,
on.
it's good pub chat. Absolute waffle.
Yeah.
I think the point I was trying to make is Joseph Quinn, glad he's in this. Should be in more. He's got a nice face. He's got one of those faces where you're just like, now there's obviously a lovely cat in this, by the name of Frodo, who obviously has got most of the attention from this film, from the I don't know. Actually, I don't know if the cat went to the premiere or what. It should have done. And obviously, when the cat's off screen at any time, you're like, where the hell's the cat? But I kind of get a little bit of that feeling towards Joseph Quinn in this. He's kind of like his bottom lip is constantly wobbling. He's constantly soaking wet. He can't stay dry for love nor money, and he keeps just doing nice things. And I try my best to be nice, okay, but I could never aspire to be as nice as this man, doing things like just recreating your memories from your dad who's passed away, like letting you live out your final moments on this planet, like all nice and nostalgic. Oh,
And he
I
does
was,
magic.
and he does a bit of magic, and he kicks the
You could
door
be the
down.
nicest man in the world, but if you can't do magic as well, he's beaten you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. If I just went, oh, being nicer, yeah, well, look at this trick. David Blaine has got us all beat.
You feel like Lois Lane's new husband in Superman Returns. Oh, your ex is back, is he? Who is he? I'll beat him up. He's Superman, actually. Fuck. Am I nicer than him? Also, no. Oh, no. Ruined.
United. Of course, we will get into A Quiet Place Day One in detail. Kim, you've been writing loads of really interesting articles on Little Red Horror as well. We try and share them as much as we can on our socials, but there are lots of very interesting topics and lists and countdowns and various things like that.
Yeah, I know. I've been I'm trying to think what I've been writing recently because I've been I had a bunch of stuff that was on like neighborhood Film Street as well that's kind of moved home, so I've been like reposting some stuff that
Oh, okay,
I wrote a few years ago, and then it's really annoying because I like post a TikTok about it and someone will be like, oh, you've missed this film out, and I'm like, well, that wasn't out when I wrote the article like 3 years ago. Like, yes, obviously I would put it on now, but yeah, I'm getting ready I'm doing my Mother of Fears this month, which I'm doing on Clock, which is on Disney Plus, which is like a pregnancy horror. And my sort of remake comparison one, I'm doing The Stepfather, which I've never actually seen either of the Stepfather
Oh
films, so I'm quite
yeah, okay.
excited because I do like when I've like usually I've seen one and I've kind of got an attachment to it already, so it's quite hard to give the other one a chance. But this will be quite interesting because I've never seen either of them. So yeah, that should be good.
Who's in the remake? Who's the stepfather in the remake?
I want to say it's not the guy out of Nip Tuck. What's his name?
I almost
'Cause
called him Julian Assange. Then it's not.
We were
No.
talking about we were talking about doing stepfather for Father's Day, weren't we, Andy? I don't know where that conversation went, unfortunately.
I think
It is the
news
guy
Yeah,
from
ones
Nip
came
Tuck.
out.
Yeah,
Dylan
Dylan
Walsh.
Walsh. Yes. Oh, and Amber Heard as well, apparently. Anoop I can't say his surname, the guy from Gossip Girl was in it. But yeah, no, I'm quite excited to give that a watch. And I've also been I'm watching all the Scooby-Doo animated films in chronological
yeah, I did see
order
that
and
as well, yeah.
and reviewing them. So I just watched Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, which I've peaked basically. That's the best one. So it's only going to be slightly downhill from here. But yeah, that's fun as well. Give a bit of love to Scooby-Doo.
A countdown list. Top 10 Scooby-Doo sea monster baddies. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. There were 10. There's to the top 10.
Though you know what? There was loads. I had to narrow it down just so I could
Wow,
watch
okay.
the 10 episodes of the ones that looked the best from like pictures. But there was tons like Scooby-Doo. I think I said this in the article. Like Scooby-Doo himself can like scuba dive, which you see in like the Captain Cutler episode. So the fact that he could do that as like a
Scooby-Doo can
hobby.
scuba dive.
Yeah. There's a lot of baddies that are set, and there's a lot of things where it's like a surfing competition or a volleyball competition or something by the
amazing.
sea, and then like a big crab pops up and attacks everyone. So yeah, Scooby-Doo's getting a lot of love recently
Good.
on the blog.
Scooby-Doo can scuba dive, Andy. How do you feel about that?
Very impressed.
Very impressed.
I mean, he's a talking dog. I was already impressed.
Mm-hmm.
How was the
there you go.
first? I do have to ask you this because this is a follow-up from a previous episode with Mr. John Krasinski. How was taking that first breath underwater?
It was all right, you know. It was fine.
It was fine because John Krasinski got a little bit scared and was like, his body wouldn't allow him to breathe.
I was prepped. I was prepped for it beforehand. We did some.
Was that like in the back of your head constantly?
Ready. I was ready. But on the Scooby-Doo front, controversial opinion. Maybe it's my age and the exact age I was when he was there. I'm going to make a very brave statement now to both of you and to everyone listening. I like Scrappy-Doo. I think he's all right.
Do you know my favorite Scooby-Doo episode ever, which is called The Ghoul, the Bat, and the Ugly, is a Scrappy-Doo episode. And it's got like this guy who runs like a museum that has like Universal monster stuffs in it, and he's called like the Night Creature or something, Nightcrawler. He's like destroying film and all these like old kind of Universal Hollywood actors are the episode. And yeah, that's the Scrappy-Doo one. And my favorite films as well is like Ghoul School and Boo Brothers. They're both Scrappy-Doo ones. So I can't really say that I dislike him because all my favorites involve him. So yeah, no, I'm with you.
What I can say about if you dislike Scrappy-Doo, get an original thought in your life. Bet you think the Beatles are overrated as well. Watch the Blues, fuck off. Get over it. Yeah, I like Scrappy.
So don't know why that popped into my head. Beatles fact. The bootleg Beatles have been together for longer than the Beatles. Everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Great fact, eh? Moving swiftly on from that. Just sorry to kill the conversation with that one.
What's in the news, Ben?
What's in the news? I've got one more thing to say about Kim's blog. How to survive an apocalypse, 10 tips and tricks from horror movies. Can we apply any of those tips and tricks to A Quiet Place? Because I've got a lot of questions about the world of A Quiet Place and how you could potentially survive. For example, would you risk kicking in a door based on being able to time it at the same time as a thunder clap? Would you risk?
Yeah, I think they work out stuff like that pretty quickly in this one, don't you? Because I guess in the first one they have been in this world for like a year and a half or whatever, so it makes sense that they're quite adept. I like how quickly she kind of figures things out of like making use of the sound and things. So I guess, yeah, you gotta. I don't know if I personally would risk it, but you feel like it's kind of a safe bet because you'd have to assume that they were like the monsters are kind of far enough away and that noise would be louder and that longer as well, that they would be distracted by it. But yeah, it's risky.
They do work out the rules pretty quickly. I feel like
Yeah.
after the initial event, people wake up and they already know to be quiet. I know we got like the helicopters going over with the megaphone telling people to just quiet. Tip number 5 in your post in your article, Kim. Find yourself a good gang. Do you feel like this is a good gang?
Yeah, I think they're amazing to like you said, Joseph Quinn's just like the nicest guy ever, and to be like that to someone you've just met and with no hint of a like weird romantic undertone as well. I think they're a great him, her
Exactly.
and the cat together is a great guy. I could have watched them for ages. They never really do anything themselves like that dafter that you get at apocalypse movies usually annoy me because usually
Yeah.
like daft people. And there were daft people in this film, but none of them were the main guys, luckily.
Yeah. I feel like having a cat with you probably would be a problem, but luckily this cat
Mm.
is pretty quiet, a mute
Yeah.
mostly,
It's a
even
good
when it
cat.
ends up underwater multiple times.
Doesn't it cause inadvertently a bit of trouble in the film where its jingly bell makes a bit of noise?
Oh yeah.
Is that it?
Mm.
Oh yeah. I
When
think the
he's by the
jingle bell
little
might make a
theatre
noise.
door?
Get that bell off straight
Hmm.
away.
Check it
Jesus.
off. You use that as a distraction, just wag it over there, and those leggy venoms will be having a look at that bell to see what they'll be thumping it.
All right, won't
Why would you
Okay.
come to such a noisy planet, you idiots?
Incredibly noisy. And they say like New York is so loud that it's just as loud as a constant scream in your ear. Oh God.
Especially if you've been in
Turn it down.
space where everything is famously real quiet.
That's why they're so sensitive in terms of their hearing. Okay.
Mm.
I got a couple of bits of horror news. Nothing too crazy this week. There's a Van Helsing TV series in the works at CBS apparently. It's being written and is believed to have landed at CBS after a hotly contested auction. Hopefully, one of those auctions where they go like blah, 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 Van Helsing sold to CBS. Who would you like to see taking on old Abraham Van Helsing? Who could it be?
Who'd I
Joseph
see?
Quinn.
I mean,
Just
I could see
imagine
that.
Eddie Munson, but with like a bit of facial hair. I could see
Yeah.
it. A young up and coming Van Helsing.
Has there not already been a Van Helsing TV series that's on Netflix? I've not seen it, but I'm
Oh
sure
my
it
God, yeah, there
exists.
was like the sci-fi series, wasn't there?
Because I love
Yeah,
the
there
film, but I've never
was.
seen the TV series.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But it was a woman, I think.
Oh, was
I
it?
feel
I'll
like
need
it's
to
a
watch
woman.
it.
I feel like it's a descendant of Abraham Van
Hmm.
Helsing.
Okay.
Bloody hell, my Van Helsing or something like that.
I'm gonna check out because he gets usually cast as a villain. I think he could be good as a good Van Helsing. Good old Mads Mikkelsen could be a good Van Helsing.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Like an
yes.
older, like a wise Van Helsing. He's turning
Mhm.
up and like to play against like a Dracula. If it was a stage play, you could rotate them, and one week he could be Van Helsing, and the other week he could be Dracula.
Oh, I like it.
Love
Like
it.
Johnny Lee Miller and Benedict Cumberbatch in Frankenstein. Flip them about.
I reckon just have him playing both the roles constantly and no one say a
The
word.
clump style.
Just like the clumps. He's everyone around the table. We obviously covered Scary Movie a few weeks ago. Did you ever see a film called, and I didn't until I saw the poster for it recently when I was just having a peruse on one of the streaming channels, Stan Helsing, a spoof of like basically like scary movie, but like somehow
I'm aware of it, but unfortunately
somehow much
unfortunately for
worse.
cinema as a medium, I've not got round to seeing that one.
No,
It's
I
just
just watched Vampires Suck on Disney Plus, and that was so terrible that I don't think I'll ever watch a spoof
oh
film
no.
again. So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. A vampire
Mm.
suck. Oh yeah, the one that's like
It's mostly Twilight,
spoof.
but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some
But yeah, that
sagas just won't. Jesus Christ. Even for looking at the poster for this, how many minutes could I make it through this film? 2010 as well.
Yeah,
It's gonna be some
no.
dodgy stuff.
I feel like just seeing the synopsis of that film, Ben has gone back into his letterbox and upped his star ratings for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Penny 2. Like, oh, okay.
Just by seeing that. Oh my
Fair play,
God.
lads.
Twilight Saga don't need spoofing anyway. Do you know what I mean? Wait a minute. Vampire Suck collection. There's been more than one. Has there been more than one? Two.
Oh wow. Oh my goodness.
Duology. Add to cart.
Add to cart. Vampire Suck. 2 movies. What? But anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, that's that. Van Helsing TV show. I know we've already had one. Look, is this going to be good? Maybe.
Have you got any alternate casting after you brought it up, Ben? I feel like I've monopolized the answer there. Who would you cast? Two of you for Van Helsing.
Oh, I think it's going to be hard to beat Mads. I think that's that's perfect. You need someone that's a
Uh,
bit like, yeah, old and grizzly looking,
Younger.
but still like cute. And yeah, I think he would be the perfect successor to Hugh Jackman's
Anyone,
Van
anyone,
Helsing.
anyone younger? Anyone in Interview with a Vampire series who's good enough? Would you say?
Oh man, you know the guy who plays Lestat,
Mm,
I can't remember his name, Sam something. He is amazing because he is like absolutely gorgeous, but just also like so good at playing like a mix between like charming and kind of untrustworthy at the same time. So yeah,
yeah,
I think he'd be. I would just watch him in anything now. He was so good in Interview with the Vampire. Yeah, I'd probably just watch him in anything. So yeah, I think he would be good though. He is very young, so I don't know if
he's got to be wearing
it would
he's
suit.
got to be wearing contacts, though, right? Look at those eyes,
I know. Sam Reed,
icy
that's his
glare.
name. He is, yeah,
Okay, Sam
ridiculous. He's
Reed.
got like jawbone to kill for. And yeah, he looks amazing as like long-haired Lestat. He's very good. So yeah, he would be fun. I would watch him, even though
I've
don't
not.
know if it's a good casting, but
Why not? I've watched him in nothing, and already I'm convinced.
Mm.
Uh, Hell yes. How about what's his name? Austin Butler. He's in everything these days, isn't he? He's got a face. Is he good in any? I don't. What have I seen him in? I guess I've only really seen him in Dune Part Two, but
Sorry,
he's
my
popping up
brain
in
is
everything, isn't
refusing to conjure the image of anyone except Jerry Butler. Now you said that, I'm like,
he? Yeah.
Transylvania has fallen.
Let's just get Adam Sandler in it. Come on, Adam Sandler in everything. What's that? Adam Sandler. I mean, I'd watch that. Do a silly voice.
You know, especially
It'd be great.
especially given his turn in the Fright Night remake and his versatility as a UK actor. I'd give David Tennant a shot at Van Helsing as well. I reckon he'd do
I
a
thought you
fun
say
job.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, so did I. I was bracing myself. I know, yeah, David
Yeah.
Tennant would be good.
Colin
We'd watch that
Farrell.
as well.
Watch them all. Let's have them all. Let's have loads of adaptations, please. I got two other bits of news. Resident Evil stuff. We're always harping on about Resident Evil on this show, but we just can't help it. Resident Evil, there's a new game in development, apparently. If you caught the Capcom Next event the other day, they were chatting about loads of different things. Didn't expect it to be Resident Evil. Suddenly they start talking about, oh, we're putting Resident Evil 7 on the iPhone. How exciting. Oh, this is interesting. Suddenly, the director of Resident Evil 7 pops up and says, we're making a new Resident Evil film. It's, Resident Evil game. Sorry to get people excited there. Who is essentially a follow-on from Resident Evil 7. Can't believe it. That's all he said. And then it cuts something else, and the
I mean,
internet's
in
gone
many ways, they
wild.
needed to give you something after the big announcement was, and this game that was out, you know,
Yeah.
approaching 10 years ago is also now on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Like,
The way it was meant to be played.
yeah, in 10-minute segments on a train. Yeah, like I felt that we knew that Resident Evil 9, it's nice to have that official confirmation. I shouldn't be ungrateful for news, Ben, but I was like,
Don't
you
bring
know,
ungrateful to me.
yeah, when it comes out like, oh, we're working on the sequel to this hugely financially successful and critically acclaimed game. In other news, Sky Blue, politics corrupt.
I did think that. I did think
Yeah,
that. I was thinking, you know what?
you're doing a
Any
ninth
Resident
series in this incredibly successful series. Bloody hell.
Yeah. It's also
Never
got
thought I'd see
games
the day.
and a TV show spin-off and animations. Yeah, well, we're long overdue. A bit of Resident Evil content. It's been at least 6 months.
Meanwhile, Dino Crisis is the skeleton at the bottom of the pool
Oh
yet
yeah.
again.
Well, Dino Crisis recently celebrated its 25th anniversary as well. That was a piece of news that I was instantly aged by, but still good news. I like
Still
it.
coming. More
25 years.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, and the only other piece of news I've got is that the Resident Evil fan film, The Keeper's Diary, a biohazard story, is now on YouTube. You can watch it in full. It's directed by Andrew Saulo, and it stars Charlie Kraslavsky, who played Chris Redfield in the live-action cutscenes in the original Resident Evil game. That is great. That is a great casting. And, you know, like some of these fan films, they can be a bit ropey, can't they? I've watched it, and I can safely say it's really good. It's obviously they love the source material, so they've gone, let's make the soundtrack exactly the same as the game. Let's have the layout of the location exactly the same as the game. So it really does feel like you're right in there. And obviously, there's a very famous diary that you find in the game, and it kind of acts out all of the scenes from that. Iconic with the final lines, itchy tasty as well. It's really good, and even the CGI looks pretty good for, like a fan film. You're a bit like, hang on a minute, CGI. They've made like one of the hunter creatures. They have not just limited it to zombies. Looks really good. And if you carry on watching after the end credits, as I did, not on purpose, just because I'm easily distracted and just let it play while I was scrolling on my phone. Their next thing they're making is a Dino Crisis short film. Did you see that, Andy?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to get and watch it very soon. But good on you, lads. I'm looking
Good on
forward to
you,
seeing it.
lads. A Dino Crisis. I mean, that's the thing. I would have been like, oh, are they going to do dinosaurs? But the CGI looked all right. So I'm fully on board with
We
a
know you
Dino
do
Crisis.
dinosaurs, Ben, when you haven't got the big Hollywood budget. Invisible Raptor style. I'm going to keep bringing this film up until everyone's got a chance to see it and we get a full-on release. I am watching the news feeds so carefully. I would say Invisible Raptor, for a film I've already seen at festivals this year, is the film I'm most hotly anticipating the opportunity to go and see again. I know, Kim, you catch a lot of press stuff. Have you seen Invisible Raptor yet?
I haven't, no.
Clear your schedule, my friend, when this becomes available.
Okay.
I think by the
I
title, you
second
think,
that.
what is this asylum like B movies? Like, honestly,
No.
the heart, the writing, it is a good horror comedy. And as a Stranger Things fan, good old Sean Astin makes an appearance.
Oh yeah, he
Oh,
does.
nice.
He makes an appearance. And it's I don't want to ruin it. I was just about to ruin it. Sorry.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
No, I did that. Yeah, it's great. It's really good. I second that. Okay. I mean, that's it for news. Bit thin on the ground this week. What we've been watching, has anybody seen anything in the last 7 days, or even longer than that? Seeing as Andy, you've been away. Kim, you've not been on the show for a while. Don't list everything you've seen since then, but but have you seen anything new or not so new recently for the first time that you'd like to recommend?
Do you know what? I went on because Letterboxd did that tweet where they were like, do your first watches of June that were your favorite. And I went on and
Yeah.
looked at everything I watched in June, and I did not watch a single new thing. I watched all stuff I'd seen before, but over the weekend I was writing a piece about hysterical, I should say, women in horror films where their significant others are portraying them to be hysterical for their own gain. So I watched things
Okay.
like, I watched Don't Worry Darling, I watched Invisible Man, I watched Swallow, Honeymoon, and Rosemary's Baby, and that was a great. I think my boyfriend was slightly terrified of me by the end. He was like, "You trying to send me like a subliminal message that men are terrible and I should just
You're
stay away from you?"
hysterical, if anything.
But yeah, so that was all I watched. And then I
yes.
also watched The Frighteners for the first time in a while to introduce it to
Oh,
my
yes.
I love
daughter.
the Frighteners.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, we've been watching Back to the Future, so I was like, oh, it's the guy from Back to the Future, but like a bit scary. And yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was great. It's so good. I love any horror film that has a cover version of Don't Fear the Reaper in it. And that ticks those boxes.
does
So
it?
yes. But yeah,
I
nothing
feel-
nothing new.
I
Just
feel
old.
like the good folks from Blue Oyster Cult have been eating steak dinners off the back of horror cinema
you must have
for a
done
generation.
on your website, you must have done a countdown of films, including Don't Fear the Reaper or
I have. It's funny how much
actually have?
yeah, no, I have, because it pops up in so many, and even quite recently it was in X, and then it was in Fear Street Part 2. I think, and then I watched the remake version of the TV show The Stand, the version, I think it came in like
Oh, yeah.
2019, and it's in
Yeah.
the original at the beginning, and then it popped up in like episode 6 or something, and I was like dancing around the living room. I was so excited.
Get
Yeah,
it on
it
the
pops up.
list.
It pops up so much. I love it. And it's obviously in a lot of the Halloween related films as well. But yeah, the version of The Frighteners is a fun one at the end.
Lesser
Some
known use of Don't Fear the Reaper. Kim, I don't know how much video gaming you were doing in 2007. Ben, I imagine significant amounts, but
a little bit.
Prey, not that one, the older one. That has a brilliant use of Don't Fear the Reaper in the beginning, which
Oh, nice.
it uses as a soundtrack like an alien abduction. So, like, literally, as this ship is coming over and slurping everyone off, where the people are being, when they are captured, they are processed for meat effectively by these alien invaders. As they're being abducted, and all of the things in the bar are floating, and it gets to mess around with the physics engine of the game a little bit. The jukebox comes alive and it plays "Don't Fear the Reaper" in this opening scene. For a
Nice.
game I have not played in depressingly approaching 20 years now, it's really good. It's really, really good.
That was like a good use of it, definitely. Some
Yeah.
great choices there as well, Kim. Swallow, I think that kind of went under the radar a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I reviewed it for Ghouls magazine when it first came out, and then Second Sight brought out like a really gorgeous release of it, which was the version
Oh,
that I
lovely.
watched because I hadn't watched it. And it's one of those ones where it's like, is it horror? Isn't it horror? But I will quite happily argue that most things come under the horror umbrella just so I can write about them. But you know what? It's really good. It's really uncomfortable. It's got one of my favorite endings in like a film ever. And yeah, it's one of those ones that's really like could happen, like real life, and that's what makes it uncomfortable. But it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, could happen, and probably, like, I guess does, doesn't it? People have got
yeah.
those instincts as well.
Mm.
The lead actor in that, she's great. I'm just trying to remind myself of her name, but
Mm-hmm.
Haley Bennett, again, another
Mm-hmm.
person that I'd watch in pretty much anything. I think when she pops up in something, like, oh yes, Haley Bennett, we like her. Always good. Um, yeah. Andy, have you seen anything, or have
Well,
you been exclusively looking at the bottom of the sea like a
like
anemone?
the people in that underwater film. No, not that. I did watch a couple
That
of
film,
things,
the
Ben.
bloody underwater, whatever it's called,
Isn't it called Underwater?
starring. It's literally called Underwater. Yeah, starring Kristen Stewart's haircut. That's
Yeah.
literally it.
Yeah, it was me
That's
and
all you
Christian
need.
Stewart under there. I wasn't watching anything underwater. I was a little bit inspired by your last episode, Ben, with when you're on with Jem. I did a little bit of thinking because in that episode you were talking a lot about horror video games. So and she invited us to come and do a horror game top 10 at some point. I'm not allowed to discuss it with you. It's going to be a surprise. But I was thinking a lot about my horror game top 10. And then, inspired by that and the news you had about the Dead Rising remake, I watched the original Dawn of the Dead again.
Did you?
Such a good character piece. It's so much of a slower burn than the Zack Snyder James Gunn remake. Um, and at first, I think looking back on it, I was like, "Oh, was this aged a little bit?" But it isn't. It starts like with a really strange cold open in comparison to the really tight opening of the remake. But it's really good, and the work they do on those characters there, you care about them so much by the end in a very like human way. And there isn't in more modern films, it's so geared towards there being tension between the characters and it being a pressure cooker. But actually, for the most part, they just get on real well. They're
Yeah.
just getting on and doing a nice thing until other people come along and spoil it. Um, so I really enjoyed revisiting that. It's been the first time in a long time. I think I talked about that I was going to play it a little while ago, but I got round to it between episodes. The demo of that we saw it in the big Summer of Games reveals and the trailers last few weeks back now. Tenebris Sombra, the
Oh
Argentine
yeah, you
game
mentioned that, didn't
studio,
you?
like
Yeah.
it's like a point and click adventure, that you're playing, but then has like acted cutscenes in it, like full motion video cutscenes.
Classic.
The
Yeah.
demo is really short, but it is very worth playing. I cannot wait for the full game to come out. You can probably run through it in about 20 minutes or so. Um, but I'm really excited for this game now. I think they're going to do some great stuff with it. And the full motion video stuff, it's pretty good. It's not Hollywood budget for you, but it's decent indie production, practical effects, monsters. Like it's good. I liked what I saw of it, and I'm really interested in what they're doing with the story. It's a lot like as the name would suggest, it's got like a sort of a dreamlike giallo quality to it, but also mysterious rituals that have been going on with the main character's former partner who's mysteriously disappeared. Then she goes to see his house, and he's a short filmmaker, and you find everything in disarray, and you're kind of unpicking what he's been doing in trying to create some new piece of art. And I'm really intrigued with what they're going to do with it. So can't wait to pick up that. But other than that, Ben, just the old film of the week, really. How about you?
Lovely. Only one thing I wanted to mention, and that is the film Handling the Undead, directed by Thea Hivensdow. It's based on the book written by John Ajvide Linkvist, who wrote Let the Right One In. It's I think it's set in Norway, so I'm assuming it's Norwegian. I'm pretty sure it's Norwegian. Don't know if any of you know about this or read the book. Not that long ago, so I kind of was keen to sort of see the movie adaptation. Basically, people who died fairly recently start waking up, and not in like a chompy zombie way, but just in a, I don't know, just kind of like weird way. Just you all right? Are you alive? And then just sort of sat there like that. You're not supposed to. I think I mentioned it a while ago. It reminded me of that show, that French TV show, The Returned, where something similar happened. People who died just started turning up back at home. Like, all right, yeah. This adaptation unfortunately didn't hit the mark for me. I much preferred the book. The story was much more interesting. The characters are more interesting. This is like a slow and ponderous take on the book, like, but almost too slow and too ponderous with like barely any dialogue. Lots of lingering shots of dry zombie lips and and like mist. You know what I mean? It's like stuff like that. It feels like it treats whereas the book it treats the event of people waking up from the dead as like this thing that's being, reported all over the world, and it's happening to so many people, but in Oslo. And it's like a phenomenon. But this one, they kind of treat it like there's a few instances, but they're all like treated like isolated instances. So it doesn't really, do you know what I mean? You don't get the scale of it. You're kind of just like, all right, okay. So someone's woke up dead, and then okay, now what? Oh, do you want a ham sandwich? Why aren't you eating this? What's wrong with you? That's kind of it. But
What's wrong,
apart
babe?
from
You've barely touched your ham sandwich.
barely touched your bloody ham sandwich, have you? I'm dead. I'm rotten from the inside out. And I think a lot of the stuff in the book was like it made it a lot easier to like it was more realistic. Like, okay, if someone had been dead in the earth for like 8 weeks, for example, you're not really gonna want them back in your house. Whereas this film kind of just goes, oh, lips are a bit chapped. You've seen better days. Let's get some cocoa butter on your skin. It's kind
You'd
of
have
like
nothing to
that.
talk about either, would you? What you been doing? Just been in the ground.
What
Let me
what
do
you
all the
been what
lifting here.
what you been watching? You've been watching anything? Shall we talk about on the podcast? No, inside of my own eyelids. It's been great. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like with the source material, I was expecting a lot more, especially considering like obviously Let the Right One In, the adaptation of that is so good. But this was just a bit, I don't know, just very, very slow. And slow can be good, but maybe too slow.
Today.
Yeah. Um, but that's it. That's it.
Before we move on, Ben, if I may, you saying the name of a Swedish last name of the director
Hmm.
prompted a memory. And we're getting towards the time of year where we're thinking about festivals again. I do know that one of the films that you may have heard us talk about, if you're a regular listener to the show, you may have heard us talk about it before, Founders Day by Eric Bloomquist.
Oh
See,
yeah.
that's what reminded me. That is now available. I saw lots of our friends pick it up
Yeah.
on DVD now that it's available. I know we're in an election year everywhere. Tomorrow, if you
Oh
live
yeah,
in
of
the UK,
course.
but or today of time, if on day of release perhaps. But Founders Day, a film that I think we both enjoyed. Ben, you made a very bold statement, not just saying it nicely to the director and writer that we met, but I think you
Well,
stuck to this operation. You preferred it to the last couple of Scream movies, even.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Founders
think
Day is
I'd
available.
stand by that.
If it's available in the UK, it will be available elsewhere as well. But it's on Amazon Video, Apple TV right now, or hard copies are also
Amazing.
available. I'd still recommend you pick that up if you're sick of election talk and you wish someone would bash those politicians in with big gavel. Don't get in trouble for it by doing it yourself. Watch a film
The
about
big
it.
gavel. I think in terms of like a slasher mystery, it's like one of the best from like that we've had for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely highly recommend that.
And festival
Um,
season is coming at us fast. Not
mm.
long before we'll be scrambling for Fright Fest tickets. I got a lovely birthday present last week of some Dead Northern tickets as well. So if you head into that, I will see you there.
Oh yeah. I better get some, mate. Don't want you sat on your own.
Yeah, who will I talk to? No one in the cinema, but outside.
No one between the minutes of the film starting and the film ending. I'll wait till the end of the credits
Twiddle my
before I even
thumbs.
say a damn thing, because you don't want a horrible space alien with great hearing to come smashing in through the door. Jesus, just calm down, will you? For God's sake, you
Which is
alien.
what would happen if you were trying to go to a film festival during A Quiet Place.
Well, you couldn't. You definitely couldn't, and definitely don't go and watch some sort of weird puppet show, because that'll just it'll all kick off.
I guess
But
that'd be
yeah,
the best
okay.
thing to watch because it's quiet.
That's true. God, A Quiet Place Day One. That's the film of the week, and it is a 2024 American apocalyptic horror film written and directed by Michael Sarnoski, based on a story he conceived with John Krasinski. I misread that as a story he received from John Krasinski, just like passed it to him secretly.
In his mind, he just woke up like John
I
Krasinski
must
standing
make
over
a
his
Quiet
bed.
Place prequel. It's the third installment in the Quiet Place film series, serving as a spin-off and prequel. Make your mind up. The film stars Lupita Nyong'o as a terminally ill woman during the early stages of an invasion in New York City by extraterrestrial creatures with an acute sense of hearing. The supporting cast also includes Joseph Quinn, Alex Wolff. Oh yeah, I didn't realize this. So, is it Djimon
Djimon
Hounsou?
Hounsou. I
Djimon
think that's it.
Hounsou,
Yeah.
reprising his role from the second film.
That's Henri.
I don't remember him being in that. Did
Yeah,
everyone?
he's the nice man with the thick jumper that's on the island.
I mean, I usually identify people by what knitwear they're wearing. First of all,
He's such a nice man. He's a lovely bloke, and he leads that lovely community. And then spoilers for A
yeah.
Quiet Place Part 2, everybody. Bloody that lot wreck it. They bring the leggy venom over on the boat, hanging onto
On the
it,
boat, yeah, that's it.
and he gets
Wherever
thumped
you-
for his trouble.
He gets thumped.
Yeah, the leggy venoms thump him, I think.
Well, he should.
Yeah.
He thumps someone in this to death just for all he wants to say is communicate to everyone that they're all going to die, which is fine. Fair point to make, I'd say. And he's like, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna squish your head in. Right
Well,
now.
he should, but he shush. But
Yeah.
there's helicopters telling you to shush. We know we're all gonna die.
Yeah. I gotta say this. I've gotta say it. No, you don't. Smash.
Fingers on lips, mate. Right.
Okay. In terms of ratings, we've got 6.8 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes, 86% audience score, 74% critic score. Letterboxd, 3.4 out of 5. Some choice Letterboxd reviews from Tyler. Give Frodo the Cat an Academy Award, 4 stars. Sorry, Tyler, I don't think that's how it works. Okay, there's no actual category for animals, is there? These days.
And also, like, if he's going to get an award for acting, he's doing a very convincing job at being a cat. It's like Denzel Washington. He does a very good Denzel Washington, doesn't he? Like, genetically, a lot of that is just coming
Are
natural
you saying
to
that
him.
Denzel Washington's he should give his Oscar back? Did he win an Oscar for Training Day? Has he got to give it back? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm just saying that a lot of that is a
Sounds like
natural
it.
talent.
Okay. I say give Frodo all the treats. Maybe that's probably nicer.
Something that was more
Gabby
value to a
said-
cat.
Gabby says my fat ass cat would have started meowing after an hour not eating and gotten the whole city killed. 4.5 stars. 3.5 stars. Sorry. James says this film mostly takes place on days 2 and 3. Actually, 2 stars.
Fair point. Yeah, dog 3 stars for that, James. Fair.
And Leah says Joseph Quinn charmed me the second he appeared on screen, all wet and pathetic. 4.5 stars. Where have you been? Where have you been, Joseph Quinn? I've just been swimming through the subway station.
I do
It's
love that about
quality
this
down
film.
there.
Everyone just turns up. Like, everyone in this film
Yeah.
just turns up in it. Joseph Quinn, most of all, literally, because like it's like, what's happened? God knows how I got here. I've
was
just
just about to get
spawned
on the
in to
train.
this.
And then suddenly I was underwater. Oh yeah. Okay. So we've covered A Quiet Place 1 and A Quiet Place 2 on the show before. Kim, are you a fan of these films?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I write about mothers and horror quite a lot, so that I've written about the first one because I'm sure giving birth in a completely silent world would suck. I would have been dead in an
God.
instant. I can clarify that one. Yeah, I really like them because I think I mean it's obviously a really interesting concept, like anyway. And I think even though in this one we get to see a lot more of the monsters, I think the fact that they don't focus as much on the monsters and it is more kind of about the people and kind of their relationships and things is more interesting. I think they still pull that off in this one, even though we literally see them like raining down skyscrapers in New York. So yeah, I think the second one, especially, I think the one of the most interesting parts of that was kind of that first chunk where you kind of saw the aliens coming in the world going to shit. So I was quite interested to see
Yeah. That
a
was
whole
good.
film of that. Because I think there's probably not more of the family's kind of story that they could have told. So I think it made sense to sort of shift the focus onto someone else. And yeah, they're definitely the most like emotional horror movies that I've seen. I cried my eyes out in the cinema at the first one. I definitely teared up at
Wow.
this one as well. Yeah, I think they're quite impressive of being quite freaky but emotional and quite like people centric at the same time. So
Mm.
yeah, I was excited for another one.
What I
Yeah.
love
So
about
what's the
sorry, Ben,
plan
you
for
go.
this? Are they just doing more prequels, spin-offs? Are we going to get a Quiet Place Part 3? Has that anything been confirmed?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Open up the
Because
universe.
obviously the end of the two was like they could do more of that story, like if they wanted
Mm.
to, but I guess it wouldn't be potentially as exciting. I
Mm.
think setting it back in this time where yeah, it literally was raining aliens in New York was probably the kind of way
Mm.
to go with it to make it more interesting. But I personally would probably watch more. Maybe we'll get a prequel that'll just be Joseph Quinn getting a train and then getting
Yeah.
rained in, and then
The
the
day
end will be him
before.
emerging. Yeah,
Yeah. It's the day before the
exactly.
aliens arrive. It's just a normal standard day for most
Yeah.
people.
A
Or
Quiet
you can
Place eventually, which is about him, studying real hard at school and getting into an American law school.
Yeah.
Just being nice about it when he learns a magic trick.
he's like, I actually can't swim. Are you getting to work? I was just going to take the subway. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's never underwater.
Yeah,
Ever.
not connected at all. Yeah.
You won't need to swim at all for that, actually. Yeah,
You won't
perfect.
need to swim for a second. Oh God. I think when we've spoken about the Quiet Place movies, I think I appreciate them. They're not my like most favorite thing. I think there is a little bit of like inconsistency with the rules of the universe that I think have always kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of a big CGI thing, but I think because I feel like there are some practical effects in this with the creatures, aren't there? That maybe there weren't so much of in the first two films. And obviously the fact we see lots of them, but they're not present for like the entirety of the film. A lot of the time
Mhm.
it's just the unseen. Don't say a bloody thing because one of them it'll be here in a minute. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the human story that perhaps they were going for in the first couple of films didn't always hit home for me, and I feel like maybe what they were attempting to do worked this time around for me. Um, I felt like I felt more invested in this. Obviously, yes, someone having to give birth in silence in a bath can't even fathom the likes of what that would be like. Or someone steps on a nail. Is that the first one? Someone
Yeah.
Yep.
steps on a bloody nail.
Surely, Kim, that's made it into your things to survive in an apocalyptic. Watch where you bloody step in, if you could.
It's
Yeah,
it's definitely on my top stair scenes in films. It definitely ended up on that list.
absolutely
She gets
horrific.
bloody Marv from Home Alone. Kevin
Yeah.
McAllister's been round in that house, putting
I'm gonna
pins.
kill that kid.
Can you imagine doing that bit, but also giving birth, just grabbing your foot, full 9-month term baby kicking at you on the inside, grabbing you like, I'm falling down.
Jesus. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this worked. I kind of felt like that with that film. You know, sometimes in apocalypse films, it's like we have to see it all kicking off and it takes a while to get going. And really, we're like, I kind of want to just be in this established world where things have happened. I kind of feel the opposite with A Quiet Place. I was a bit like, oh, I really want to know. Like that bit in A Quiet Place 2 was the scene where I was like, oh, I just want more of that because, there are more people to get whisked off by the Quiet Place monsters now. What are they doing? Are they just killing people? They're not eating them, are they?
They've just
Yeah, we were having this discussion earlier because my mum saw the first one on Gogglebox. And
right.
it was the bit where I think she has seen the film in full. That's not how she consumes movies, but she was just asking me about it. And she was like, "Did he eat the kids at the beginning?" And I was like, "I think they just like obliterate people. They just like rip them to bits because I think the noise just annoys. I don't think because in this one we kind of seen them eating like eggs
Cadbury's cream eggs,
presumably, yeah, like space eggs that came down with them. You don't.
How do
I don't.
you eat
Yeah.
yours?
Oh, and you get
Yeah,
Eat it with a foil on.
you get a boss leggy venom in this as well. There's like a boss one that's leading us. Yeah, lads,
yeah,
eat these eggs. Eat these eggs. Yum, yum,
exactly.
yum.
They just
So
obliterate people.
yeah,
You know that we
it
say
feels
like
like that. Yeah.
they got really sensitive hearing, so they're attacking things that make noise because it hurts. I don't know, but they make a lot of noise.
Yeah,
Are
they
they
do.
just immune to their own sounds? Like when they're
Well, you know
running
what you
along?
say, those leggy venoms, Ben. When you point in one of your big, long, gangly fingers, you got to think of those three that are pointing right back at you. Pressure would be their biggest
They're so
weakness.
loud.
Take them
They're
out. Yeah.
literally like so heavy-handed with everything. Did you hear that noise
Mm.
in that room? Yeah. What are you gonna do? There's someone in there for you to kill. Okay. I'm just gonna smash through the whole wall and door, creating the most noise possible. Surely when they
That
do that,
car
does that
alarm's
not
going off.
alert,
Just going to flip it over.
smash
Smash it.
alert other ones? What does the noise that they make alert other aliens to their no? Does that make sense? Or,
It
or
feels
do
like
they
it does
go?
because the bit where they're like when they go in the building and they start like kind of crashing through, like more and more of them start appearing.
Yeah.
So it feels like they do attract each other. Yeah, they're not very considerate.
Do you reckon they can, because they can't see, right? So can they sense each other, or do they go round like one of them will, kick a Hoover over in someone's house, and the other one will just come and like literally thump them? Because that's what you do. I think you're right, Kim. They don't eat people. They don't
Literally
use the hunt.
bump them.
They literally
Just
just go
had my
around and
house
thump
built.
each other
I've
and
made a new
like.
extension. Looking lovely, this house. Looking great. And then you knock someone over and then suddenly bang. For God's sake.
They're never going to settle. No wonder they were like, floating about in space. That was probably their own planet got exploded because something in it made a noise. They punched it so hard. Just
But also,
exploded shards of the planet off into space.
I am just waiting for why do these films not approach like everything we want to know about, which is like what happens if someone snores? What happens if someone is everyone who snores dead
Dead
at this point? Is that what we're
on
thinking?
the end of day one.
At
Maybe
the
day
end of
two if
day
they had a
one,
long day
anyone who
and didn't get
snores
any
is
sleep
dead.
that first night.
Yeah.
What if your belly rumbles? What you
You
ain't had a
sneeze.
you sneeze, lots of other bodily functions that make noises. What if these things happen? How are you supposed to do it? That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, next to a fountain, because if there's running water, they're like, "Oh, ignore that, tune it out."
Oh yeah, that kind of like.
Just take
So
take a white
again,
noise
that's
machine with
established
you all
in.
the time, like a big ghetto blaster playing like a white noise machine. Like, all right,
So like residual noise, masks, other sounds.
yeah.
That's established because they keep going to like a waterfall in the first film. Is that
Mhm.
right? To
Yeah.
have a chat. We need a chat out
Where
loud.
John Krasinski doesn't explain that's that. He just rocks up with his kids and starts talking really loudly and scares them, and then goes, "Oh no, you can talk here." Sorry, I didn't.
Talker is fine. But also, how do you test that? I feel like all the things that they're doing to test it is too risky. I'd be too worried. I'm not going to do a scream. Just, do you know what I mean? I'm not just going to randomly scream because I think, maybe they wouldn't hear that. No, I wouldn't have the bottle. I'd just be like, no, I'm silent forever now, unfortunately. But I mean, do either of you think you could survive? I feel like when it initially happens, you obviously don't know that they're sensitive to sound, so I think it would be impossible to even survive this first wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
Unless
have to
you're like,
rely on everyone being louder than you
Yeah.
around you, I think would be the problem. I don't know, because I go around the house like talking to myself quite a lot. So I feel like I just accidentally start like talking to myself and then just get like exploded from the sides without really knowing what had happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I question, and I also like I fall down the stairs in my house like all the time. Like I trip over stuff and the carpet's just not fitted great. So yeah, that'd be me. I'd be like halfway
You'd
down
have
the
to-
stairs and just
you'd
get
have to
like
move to a
knocked out.
bungalow.
Yeah.
Also,
I
like,
think
if
I'm too clumsy to exist in that world.
too clumsy to exist.
Yeah.
Or I feel like if there are any animals about, like, I mean, in terms of my pet, I give him his own voice and he communicates with me. I feel like I can't just let him be silent now. I feel like he needs to as well.
Those
So I
venoms
just
are
couldn't.
just gonna have to put up with the fact that you sometimes make noise. You could just do what I do, Ben. I just plug the Hoover in, run around with a Hoover run and use that residual noise to talk as much as I wanted. They'll be there.
And that'd be annoying after a while. wouldn't it?
If they come, they'll be coming for Henry Hoover before they get me.
They'll come in, they'll be like, it's bloody spotless in here.
They won't be able to appreciate. They can't even bloody see.
So yeah, in terms of cast, Lupita Nyong'o as Sam, Joseph Quinn as Eric, Alex Wolff as Ruben. It's quite a small cast, I guess. Obviously, there are lots of other people,
Who's
but
your
we
favourite
don't
character,
care
Ben?
about them. Frodo the cat, played by two cats. You always find this, don't you? Nico and Schnitzel as Frodo the cat.
Does one of them do the swimming scenes?
That's true, actually, yeah, because the cat is completely like I've seen cats fall in the bath and stuff like that. They don't like it. This cat goes underwater, comes
I
up.
suppose that one might be a toy one. Might not be
It might be a toy one. It might be. And he got a
like
little
a
lead on.
Garfield.
Got a little lead on as well. That's cute.
Yeah, Ben, the one I hope you would say was your favorite character would of course be Elijah and Garvey as frightened man.
Wait, is frightened man the man who's like desperate to tell everyone you're all gonna die?
Yeah, the one that gets shushed to death.
Yeah.
He literally gets shushed to death, and he even looks around to look at his son watching him shushing someone to death, and he's like, I don't really want to do this in front of my son, because can you be quiet? And then what does he even do? Does he just
It looks like he just thumps him, but I think he Metal Gear Solid snaps his neck like a bird.
snaps his neck? Is that I feel like if I tried to do that to someone, I'd just turn their head to the side really fast.
They go, oh,
They'd be like, what are you doing?
shout more. Having hurt their head.
Or it'd like benefit them, like I crack their neck or something. They'd be like, "Oh, thanks, actually. I've had that prick in my neck all week. That's all right.
This
no
film's
problem.
cast
I am
does
going to
have
kill you now."
This film's cast does have a lot of people who are, not credited by name, but by occupation or thing. So Kane Aiden as passerby, Jennifer Woodward as nurse, Ronnie
They're the best
LaDrew as Marvin Monroe, who is the psychiatrist that The Simpsons visited in that early episode.
Oh yeah, what when they electrocute each other?
Dr. Marvin Monroe. He's in a
Give him-
quiet
give him
place day
those-
one. That's
give him
why he
those
disappeared from
sticks.
Springfield.
Give him those sticks with the rubber padding on it, and he's like,
And
"I can take the I can take the padding off." Bang, 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 bang.
He whacks him in the shin.
I
And
know
Phoebe
that
shouts,
so.
then Homer gets quiet placed.
I had that episode on video. That's why I know that one so well. Marvin Monroe.
That episode, he doesn't listen, but this is indelible memory. Sorry, Dad, you did scar me for this one. That was one of the first episodes that was ever screened on BBC Two in this country. And it was one of the ones we watched, and they see that, they go to that picnic at work and they see the nice family that are going. And Homer looks back at his family and see that they're fighting all the time. We joked within my family home that was like us, because we love each other very much, but we're very, we don't get on particularly well. We squabble all the time. And then on a night out in the near future, just after that, we were obviously really all winding my dad up. He turned around to us in the car and says, "You guys are not." Sorry, Dad. He's like, "You're not like The Simpsons. You're worse." And he was deadly serious. He was real
shit.
pissed off with us.
You're not like The Simpsons. You're even worse.
Worse.
I saw a
He probably
TikTok
doesn't think I
recently.
remember that. He probably thinks, "Oh, he's only like 12 or whatever." Yes, I do. For a man
I
that
saw-
remembers Mrs. Radford fucking negging him on his first day of school when he was 4, I'm going to remember that absolute anime's top 10 betrayals, Dad. Every time.
talking of The Simpsons, I saw a TikTok recently that like almost made me feel a little bit grubby. You may have seen it, Kim. You may have seen it, but it was Bart Simpson in a sexual situation, obviously when he's grown up, and it was like, "Oh, can we just try something in the bedroom just for a bit?" And then his partner's like, "Oh yeah, what?" He's like, "Well, it's a bit weird, but can you strangle me? Can you just can you choke me? Can you choke me with both hands?" And maybe just say, "You little," and I was like, "Oh my god, that is probably correct. That's exactly what's going to happen." The poor Bart Simpson. They didn't go as far as him asking to call them daddy, so it's fine.
On a serious note on the cast, though, Lupita Nyong'o, I'd watch her read the phone book, and I would say she's one of the best eye actors working today.
Yeah, we've been talking about eye actors recently. We spoke about eye actors when we were talking about Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Good eyes. Just doesn't have to say anything. Eyes are saying it all. But yeah, Lupita as well, definitely.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
need
agree.
any dialogue, and she's very good at dialogue. Don't get me wrong; she's going to do it in a scary voice like she does in Us. But she, one of those actors who I can think would be very effective when she's saying very little or nothing. Yeah, so a
Because
thrill to see her in this.
I don't know how you feel as well, but I almost feel like having the lead actor, having the lead, like the protagonist of the film, be someone who's like terminally ill, could be done in lots of different ways that perhaps make it a bit, what word am I thinking of? Like a bit too on the nose, a bit too like, okay, we get it. She's got nothing to live for because she's terminally ill. She wants to go and get a slice of pizza. But I think it was done with, like, I don't know, it just felt really genuine to me. It felt like it didn't feel like that at all. It felt really genuine. It felt like how she was being treated by Joseph Quinn's character was nice, yeah, but also like maybe kind of quite realistic. And also, you know, the way someone could treat someone when they know they're terminally ill could be a bit pushy in a way, could be maybe a bit like, well, we got to make sure you have a lovely memory before you pass away. But this felt really natural. It felt really organic. It felt like their relationship developed quite nicely. By the fact that she was just going to stop following me to start with. Stop bloody following me. And I like that about her. I like the fact that she was like, because as soon as she ended up with like 2 kids at her side, I was a bit like, okay, is this where we're going? Is it?
You're going to be their new mum by the end of this
We're going to
film.
protect these kids and she's going to be their new mum. But the first chance she gets, she's like, actually, fuck off that way. Which I kind of liked.
If I only find one pizza left in this entire New York City, I ain't sharing it with you, freeloaders. Yeah, it is true. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked the way that her character was portrayed. You're right, Ben. I think it does have a little bit of risk associated with it when, you know, it's part of writing and it's part of telegraphing, and you know, you do, to a degree, I do still raise a slight eyebrow when it's like, okay, this person's terminally ill, so if it comes to a point in the future, if someone might have to make a sacrifice or do something that's dangerous or accept that they have reached the end of their life, is it going to be the person that has a terminal illness anyway? And you know, a lot like lots of the things we've examined in the last couple of years on grief and trauma and so on, like that, or living with disability, like in Bloody Night Swimming Pool. Like I do sometimes think there are messages that you could deal with more sensitively that say, hey, your life is still worth things when you that one. Whereas, oh, sorry, I'm going to be disabled again. I might as well go off to oblivion at the end. Fucking hell. But yeah, with that one, it is dealt with sensitively. But I do still raise a slight eyebrow that, you know, she's more ready to sacrifice herself than someone else because she knows her life is towards its end anyway. But I wasn't offended by it.
Did you? I feel like in terms of that. Sorry to go back again. When I know I finished making my point. I felt like there were loads of moments in this film where I was like, okay, she's gonna quietly say I'm done now. But she kept going. And I also feel like, and I don't know how you feel about this, both of you. You may agree, may disagree. I feel like if this film ended 1.5 seconds sooner, I feel like that would have been a better ending than the 1.5 seconds later that we got. Don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I could give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Like we'll come to it.
I know we'll come to it, but I feel like the act of taking out the headphones drives that point home without us needing to see an alien land directly behind her. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, I know that's like a money shot, of course, yeah. Boom. Big scary alien. But I feel like that and then cut to black. Lovely. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So obviously that's Lupita Nyong'o is Sam, Joseph Quinn is Eric, who's just turns up, and kind of like forces his way along. I guess he just doesn't want to be on his own. Is that what we're kind of thinking? He just doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's
being alone.
I think it's quite interesting how rightly, obviously, he is terrified of dying, and especially the whole thing of like dying on his own because his family are away in England, and I'm guessing he like wasn't near from his law school. The fact that Sam's character obviously is dying and spends most of the film like comforting Joseph
Yeah.
Quinn's character of like, no, you're gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. I think is an interesting one where obviously, yeah, she's sort of come to terms more with death, I guess,
Yeah.
not fully like accepted it, but I like the fact that she's there to kind of offer him that comfort. And yeah, I think it is an interesting I like that she didn't like full on sacrifice herself for him though. Like she kind of does, but I don't think she ever had any intention of like trying to get on that boat at all. So I think the fact that it's kind of a bit of a diversion, but I don't think it really fucks her over. I think she was always intended
Yeah.
on just staying there. I like that she didn't like full on die saving him.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit of a sacrifice, but not like too much. And I think that was good because it could have been like the dad in the first Quiet Place, like just not even trying to make a distraction,
No.
just full on like I'm gonna scream and you're gonna watch me get ripped apart in front of you.
Yeah.
I like that it didn't go that way. And yeah, I think he could have been a weird, creepy character, like following her around and like not going away. I
It
like
was
the
really
fact that they
nice.
sort of form that bond. She's obviously had trouble making friends. She says to Alex Wolff's character at the start, like, "You're not my friend, you're my nurse," or whatever. So I like the fact that she managed to make like a kind of solid friendship with a weirdo that wouldn't stop following her, but in a
It's like
respectful way.
he's kind of shell shocked, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess it does come as a bit of a shock if you almost drown in a train.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Bloody delays. Bloody
Yeah, I mean,
delays on these.
if you'd almost drowned in the sea, you can fathom that out. If you almost died in an impact in a train crash, that you could work this thing. But if you almost drown in a train, you'd be like, what the fuck? What's even happening? Yeah, like I liked the way those characters related to each other. Although now you've conjured it up, Kim, from the first one. Bloody hell, John Krasinski, just bang the bin lids together and jump into the bushes or something. Just stand
Get the
there.
egg timer
Yeah,
again.
it's-
Try
it's awful,
something.
isn't Could literally do anything else other than
Yeah.
Learn to throw your voice.
that. Learn to throw anything. Throw your voice. Ridiculous.
When the
Okay.
Venoms come over, goes, "Oh, you went that way." They'd be like, "Oh, thanks." On they go.
Yeah, take me a little after you. I did see something about a Quiet Place game as well. I don't know if it's a VR thing or something like that, but it's
Oh, man.
literally a trailer went A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead. Now, I don't know what it's sometimes in games when you're playing with like a PS5 controller and it's got a little microphone on it, and there's like a bit like, for example, in like Until Dawn or The Quarry, like it's like the monster's right there. Don't say anything because we'll pick it up on the little microphone. Be quiet. I hope it's not that because easy. I can sit down and play a game and be quiet. It's fine. But if it's like you got to do like creepy stealth and stuff, don't kick a can over or something like
Kick a
that. I don't
tinny
know.
over, yeah. I don't know. My dog got me killed in Alien Isolation once. Bloody
Oh,
Ricky.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, was that the same thing? Could
Yeah,
pick up your
Xbox,
thing.
the Kinect on the Xbox at the time. You know, when you could peek around, the camera would pick you up leaning, so you could lean out
Yeah.
of things, and the microphone on it would pick up. And the dog kicked off and barked. Xenomorph camera got me under the table. Is there a dog barking under there?
You have no idea what you've done, Ricky. I was going for the platinum as well.
Yeah, I was going for the no deaths all the way through. It absolutely stitched me up.
Yeah.
I
could
got
be
Quiet
scary.
Place, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd be terrible at that because I played Alien Isolation once and I was like crouched down behind something and I pressed, instead of pressing the like button to make me crawl, I pressed the one where I brought out like a fucking spanner and started like smashing the side of the cabinet, and I've never seen someone get killed so quickly by an alien. I was like, you know what, I think that's
spanner
my
button.
Why was that a button? Why was that an immediate command? I don't understand. I was
Why
so bad at it.
press
So,
X to
yeah.
belch loudly? Why is that even been mapped on here?
I feel like I've done this. I meant like pulse rifle or something. Little pulse rifle burst.
Then again, in this film, A Quiet Place Day One, someone does get killed while pressing X to Jason. In the crowd scene later on, there's literally a guy going like, Jason, and then he
Jason.
shoots the
Oh yeah,
little
that's
dot.
true. And they've been around for a couple of days. So what are they calling after people
I
for?
feel like they've just been a distraction. They're like, right, as soon as everyone's panicked, the rules have gone out the window. They're shouting, they're hollering, they're tripping over everything.
Yeah.
They got their wheelie suitcase with a rickety wheel. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. deserve
Honestly,
it.
everyone's walking
Absolutely.
ever so carefully.
I'll tell you what.
Then they
if you're
instantly get a spook in and turn into Mr. Blobby to a man. Every single one of them's like,
to be like, if you're in any way sensitive to sound, can you imagine just like you'd be like, you bunch of amateurs, squeaky old wheelchair, like a what was it? Like you said, a suitcase dragging along.
Yeah.
What else? Someone's just playing a
Everyone's-
Game Boy. I don't know.
everyone's got someone's bought their brand new pair of loafers and they're walking on, for some reason, exclusively a
Squeaky.
tiled floor.
So someone's playing the spoons.
Yeah.
I do like these scenes in any films, though. You know, when like there's a huge crowd of people who are trying to get away from something or survive something, and then like the thing that they're trying to escape is there in the crowd. You know, like sometimes a zombie, for example. Like I don't think we get to see it, but I think in 28 Days Later, one of the characters talks about a packed like train station and someone's infected and starts kicking off. The only other one I can think of is when the T-Rex turns up in the Lost World with that massive camp, and they all like they're all
Slurping
together
them
and
through
they
the
all just start
waterfall.
sprinting. And they
Oh,
hide
my
in the
favorite part is
waterfall,
they
yeah.
leg it into the thing, and that poor fella's shouting, "Don't go into the long grass," and then they're all in there.
They're all in there. What a brilliant- And they get a jump scare from Alan Grant no, not Alan Grant, Jeff Goldblum running into the waterfall. Everyone screams. It's just Jeff Goldblum, don't worry. But I think those scenes are really effective, you know, when everyone's trying to be quiet and then suddenly the creature, the monster, the thing you're scared of is there in the middle of the crowd. I think that's a good thing. A good thing, not a good thing for them, obviously. But yeah, obviously, as we mentioned, Samira being terminally ill, we start off in a hospice, outside New York City, where she's in some sort of therapy group, talking to the nurse Ruben, played by Alex Wolff, and doing a horrible bit of slam poetry.
Yeah, I mean, I know she's in a bad place, but she's been a right old edgelord in this bitch. Like, this place is shit. Your shit, your mom's shit, dinner's a shit.
Your mum's shit.
This guy over here has done nothing to me. He walks funny when he shit his pants. Like, I'm like, come
How
on,
dare you to
Sam,
walk normally when you shit your pants?
dial it back. Like, he's got enough problems in the fact that his particular condition means that he might sometimes have a little bit of incontinence there. He doesn't need you metaphorically rubbing his nose in it. All right.
So she
But
does
yeah.
this poetry, and then she's like, she seems like a bit of a loner, doesn't she? She kind of like likes her own space, doesn't like being there. As you mentioned, Kim like hasn't really made any friends there, is reluctant to make friends with what's his name, Ruben. I didn't know he was in this at all, Alex Wolff. I didn't see a sniff of him in any trailers, any press, or anything like that. First thing I thought was he looks pretty good with a beard and long hair. Looks like a completely
Yeah.
different man. Keep it up, Alex
He's
Wolff.
from the beach that makes you get old.
Not a beach that makes you get old. Oh, the beach that makes you get old and makes you get pregnant.
The worst combo.
Would you prefer to be on? Where would you least prefer to spend a weekend? A quiet place or the beach that makes you get old?
Oh,
Probably the
mean,
beach.
yeah.
There's no
Yeah, I
going
was gonna
back,
say
is there?
how old would I be when I left the beach?
Oh,
I
if
can't
you made it for the
remember.
weekend, you'd be all right when you got back.
Okay.
I reckon I could be quiet. I could be quiet in a quiet place.
Yeah, probably.
Just put your headphones in. You'd be all
Yeah.
right.
I don't know about that because I think when I put headphones in, I breathe loudly. You know, people who do that. I think I'm one of them. Sometimes I'm aware of it as well. Like I hear myself and I go, "Bloody hell, can't hear myself think." Let
So
alone
you're off to the
breathe.
beach that makes you get old then, Ben?
I'll get myself to the beach. No, quiet place for me, not the beach.
That's the worst.
Don't like the sound of that. I don't want to end up old and pregnant.
Mm.
Don't go in
What
a
a
tent with
terrible
anyone,
weekend.
even for a second.
No, I won't.
Imagine if you went to the
Ruben-
beach that made you get old and you needed a wee when you got there. Your kidneys would immediately explode.
Just thinking about it. Ruben manages to convince Sam to go to like a group outing to, he says, a theatre show. Turns out it's a bloody shitty old marionette show because Sam's like, oh, marionette show? I'd rather die. Obviously, Sam is just keen to go into the city. And I think the reason is because she wants to get pizza. She absolutely loves pizza.
She
Who
gets
can blame
tempted in
her?
by pizza, like any of us would, right?
Mm.
Many
She
a
loves
time have I
pizza.
been something I can't be asked to go to with the promise of pizza.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how you
what
convince me to go anywhere. Is the promise of food afterwards.
some companies treat a bit of pizza as good as a pay rise, don't they? They go, well, no
Mm.
pay rise for you, but we're getting the pizzas in tonight. Oh, great, that's fine. I'll forget that tribunal. Um, so yeah, it's kind of like, obviously she likes pizza, but it's kind of like a nostalgia thing as well because she
Loves the
remembers
turtles.
trips. She absolutely loves the turtles. Michelangelo is her boy. Um, remembers fondly a time with her late dad going to like watch him play jazz, play piano, and then
Mhm.
getting pizza afterwards. The absolute dream. I feel like for me, it's kind of the same. It's going for a nice Saturday afternoon swim and then getting a McDonald's afterwards as a kid. That was like peak.
Nuggets or a
There's nothing
burger, Ben?
beating that. What was that?
Nuggets or a burger?
Probably a burger. And I'm talking about McDonald's when it had ashtrays on the table. All that time ago.
Yeah,
When people had birthday parties at McDonald's back then.
I
What were
was
you gonna
gonna
say,
say,
sir?
when I was a kid, my dad used to take me swimming as well, but he used to take me to a burger van in the B&Q car park, and I used to get a hot dog. So that might be even
Yes.
harder to track down in
Yes.
post-apocalyptic times.
But they
But
still
yeah,
but then again, I don't know if you've been to a B&Q recently. They still got those. They've
Burger
already got a
van's
nice.
burger
outside
van in the car
B&Q.
park.
It's my mom's favourite restaurant. The B&Q near me. She lives in the Midlands. Honestly, I was joking with them. They've just looked after my house for a week while I've been on holiday. I was, teasing mom a little bit. Oh, did you go to your favourite restaurant, the burger van outside B&Q? She goes, yeah. Second day I was here.
Straight to the burger van. Absolutely lovely. Sometimes, if you find a posh one, they'll have a couple of those white patio chairs out the front of
Mm.
it. So you can sit down and dine. You don't have to return to your car. Andy, do you have a similar memory
I do
like
have an
Lupita?
after swimming snack as well.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, for all of us, all our lives are in because you ain't getting a Macca's, mostly because that's moved on, Ben. You don't get ashtrays at your McDonald's anymore. Kim can't go to a B&Q van, but I used to go for a swimming lesson on a Saturday, have a lovely time, and then I'd go to the little snack bar afterwards, be allowed to get something out of the vending machine, or sometimes behind the bar at the swimming pool, you get your little packet of nerds. Nerds
Behind
are
the
too
bar?
noisy to have. You'd be shaking those. The
Oh
venom's would
yeah.
be right on you.
You couldn't have nerds. Wait a minute, did you say behind the bar? The swimming
Oh,
baths?
like the swim baths had a little snack bar where you get like coffees and teas and stuff
Oh,
like
I
that, and then
see.
with an actual, you know, like a service place that you go up and get, not just machines. And they weren't in the vendor, but you could go and get a little packet of nerds until that late 80s, early 90s rumor came round that there was glass in some of them. I reckon that was just parents not wanting to buy us. Someone's put glass in them.
Who, who started that rumor? Was it you?
No, I wanted them. I want to do something, Ben, so destructive that would stop me having
They're always
nerds.
Why are there always rumors like that?
Because
Careful.
it happened to baby food in real IRL.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, someone was
Terrible.
putting bad stuff, and that's why they have those anti-tamper things now. But apparently,
Oh.
an encyclopedic knowledge of criminal scandals.
Criminal scandals in the
But
food.
yeah, nerds, as far as I'm aware, never contaminated, and every week that we didn't have them was a bullet in my heart. Might as well have been eating glass because that's what everything I had instead of nerds might as well have tasted like. So yeah,
Not much
basically all of our favorite dreams are ruined if a quiet place happens.
not much sustenance in nerd stuff. I feel like after swimming you need something. Like when you're ravenous after swimming, nothing beats
Need a
a
Kit Kat Chunky. Haven't even been invented at this stage.
I was
Ain't
just
getting
about
a
to
Kit
say
Kat Chunky in 1989,
I was
Ben.
just
That was
about
the
to say
pipe
Kit
dream
Kat
of Mr.
Chunky.
Nestle himself.
How did you know I was about to say Kit Kat Chunky, Andy?
That's a quintessential post-swim
Did I
snack.
I've told this I'm sure I've told this story on the podcast before. I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do it quickly. I was absolutely ravenous after swimming once, and I don't think I had a card on me. I could only get together some tiny bits of change I had. I even had to go back to my car and look for change, so I had enough for a Kit Kat Chunky. I was like, when you're like shaking, nearly fainting, you're like, oh God, I need something, need the sugar. I managed to scrape together 65p. Yeah, that's how much it cost. I went all the way back to the vending machine, loaded the cash in, got the Kit Kat Chunky out, opened it, but then I like waited till I got outside And the reason I did that is because I wanted to savor this moment. I wanted to walk outside and enjoy my Kit Kat chunky, which then slipped out of my hand like like a wet bar of soap and went straight down the drain. Didn't even touch the sides, even touch the sides of the grid of the drain. Straight down the drain. There was no coming back from it because it was horrific. If I could have dropped to my knees like at the end of Shawshank Redemption, I would have.
You have told me that story, Ben, but I love it so much. You could tell it every week, and I would still enjoy it.
I was like, literally looking around at people, going, "Fucking hell!
Someone's seen this."
This is madness."
Oh dear.
Okay, so they go to the marionette show in Manhattan. There's a lovely sort of trip. Again, it's lovely, isn't it? It does feel like a bit of a
It was an enchanting marionette show, Ben. I'm
an
not afraid to say it. First Scrappy Doo.
it
Now this.
was.
I'd love to see that. That's
It
brilliant.
was.
Fuck off,
Like the
Cirque du
balloon.
Soleil. This is ace.
The balloon popping was a bit extreme for my liking. I was like, "Oh,
I guess
something
that's maybe that's what called the quiet places down. They were
They
like,
were-
"Oh, I just
they
wanna
were
watch some
slowly passing
respectable
by.
theatre."
They were slowly passing by planet Earth, and they were like, "I don't think there's much going on down there." Bang, balloon. And I guess they're watching that, and what does Sam like halfway through just decide this ain't for me? Yeah, is that what she do? Oh no, she's like, I'm going to find a pizza. I'm here for the pizza. I ain't wasting my time with marionettes, no matter how enchanting they may be. Me and my cat are going, and it does kick off pretty quickly. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, it kicks off pretty quickly. There are, first of all, everyone's kind of just looking in one direction. There's something going on. They receive some word from the hospice that they've all got to come home because
Come
it's
home to the
kicking
hospice.
off.
No time for pizza.
No time
Get
for
home.
pizza. It's kicking off, and obviously Sam gets upset, as you would, because I think she thinks this is her last trip into the city, doesn't she? I think she said before, I thought the last trip was the last time, but this is the last time. So she's like, if it's the last time I'm going to be in the city, gots to get me some of that pizza. And she's fuming, as you would be. She gets back on the bus, and that is when it all kicks off. Meteor-like objects crash into the city. There's dust everywhere. Obviously, we don't know what's happening in this particular moment. Sorry, they don't know, but we do. The bloody evil creatures from the with the longest legs you can imagine are attacking everyone willy-nilly. Anyone who makes a sound. And then we get this scene where Sam is kind of like, I like to say, do we get like that high pitched sort of like noise?
Yeah, we do.
Noise
We get a lovely high because I think production wise, the early part of the film up to this point has been big on saying, you know what's noisy? Everything. New York's noisy.
Yeah.
There's traffic. Everyone's beeping their horns all the time. When that balloon goes off, it's ever so loud. And then in this bit, you do get like the ringing in the ears after the crash. This is Tom Hanks stumbling around in Save It Private Ryan with tinnitus. This is everything.
There's dust everywhere. I feel like New York City's too loud. I think if New York City just carried on about its business, these creatures wouldn't be able to work out what was going on, and they'd soon piss off elsewhere. But no, unfortunately not. And then we do get a classic cut to black because Sam is knocked unconscious, and when she wakes up back inside the theater with other survivors, I think everyone's kind of established the rules pretty quick sharp that you have to be quiet. And I don't know. I think I know the scene before was supposed to establish that, but I still feel like I would have liked a bit more time while everybody else learned the rules the hard
I guess
way.
open question here as well. For us as an audience, this film is heavily reliant on us having seen and understood the previous one, right? Or at least one of the previous ones.
Yeah, that's true.
For the
guess-
rules.
The helicopter overhead is basically like, be quiet, and then it's like, oh, BT dubs, they can't swim, so you just get in the water, you'll be fine. Like it's all like, it's all set out pretty. I guess it's the same way, I guess, in like the newest like Spider-Man films, they didn't show you him becoming Spider-Man because by that point you're like, well, we know what's happening. So I guess it's like, well, we know this, we know they can't swim, we know that it's noise, so we don't need to see them figuring that out. Like, we'll just
Hang
have a
on a minute.
helicopter.
How's Peter Parker, high school photographer, ended up swinging?
How did he get those pictures of him? How does he always know where he's going to be?
Did you take this photo 300 feet up in the air? Well, I might have.
Good
Who
lens.
knows? Suspicious.
Yeah, so yeah, we do get the, in case you missed it, the helicopters come and catches up, but you know who else is on top of things? So as Sam wakes up and does a cough and a gasp, the Shush Master General himself is standing over her. He must have she's gonna wake up. Wait. Covers her mouth. Shush, please. Because I mean, I can't explain this. The fact I'm saying this is too much. Just wait for helicopter to come over, it'll explain.
Yeah.
Shush.
There are lots of times where people do talk, and I'm like, okay, that's probably a good whisper. But then I feel like occasionally they're like veering into too loud, and I'm like, I'd be so stressed if I was in this. Just bring it down a notch.
My finger
Bring it
would always
down a
be
notch,
hovering.
and when you think it's quiet enough, bring it down another 2 notches. All right.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
shushes her, and then we see like it's the theater again, and loads of people, a whole group of survivors is there. Helicopter comes past, going, "Right, everyone, be quiet, right? Be careful.
They
We'll
don't like
give
you
you
to.
stay where you are, and we'll give you news of
Oh
an
yeah, avoid the
evacuation.
bridges. They say avoid the bridges.
Mm.
The
Avoid the
reason is
bridges. I'm not going to mention this, but we're going to bomb the shit out of those in a minute. Just hang
bomb the
on.
shit out of the bridges. Yeah.
I mean, it's slightly nicer than the military are in a lot of horror films because usually they will just murder
Bomb the-
people like indiscriminately or not. So I think the fact that they even gave a warning to like stay off the bridges and just say hit it was a lot. They're giving a better reputation to the military than any other horror film that I've
Not
seen.
realistic.
No, but
I
nice.
want to know.
Usually the military, it's like, oh, you're infected, flamethrower. This isn't really
Yeah.
a film with. This isn't really an infection thing. These are space. No, infected.
Yeah.
Burn them up.
Never know who's infected. I want to know, did the little marionette puppet boy survive? Don't see it. Don't see anything of him after that. I want to know if he's all right, safe and well.
He
Floated off
probably
on
is.
his little balloon.
He's escaped. He has swapped places with. He's up in the stratosphere. No aliens up there, just silently.
Living the absolute dream. Imagine that though. Did you enjoy that marionette puppet show? Well, you never guess what happened while it happened. New York went to shit, unfortunately. Oh,
In
no.
hindsight, even if you really hated that show, that is still the highlight of your day.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place Day Zero.
True. It was quite. I
Everything
want to know
else
how
was
it ended.
much
That was the
worse.
ending. Yeah, and when we see the bridges being bombed and everyone gets up on the roof, that is when frightened
Scared man.
man gets ready to kill everyone. Essentially, he's going, I gotta say this, everyone's gonna die, and that is when
We will all die if you don't shut up, which is why.
there's always a character like this, isn't there? They love putting a character like this in a horror film. Just someone who won't. I can't think. What's another example? I was gonna say the lady from The Mist, but she's just horrible and annoying.
She's horrible. She's horrible. She's a baddie. She's a wrong un.
She's a baddie.
I mean,
yeah.
we've conjured his name already, Ben. What about from 28 Weeks Later? What about Man?
Oh yeah, Man from 28 Weeks Later. Just Man. There was just.
He's there to like cause a bit of ruckus and eventually be killed.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's just. But then again, in this scene, Henry does shush him to death, and it's all you can imagine. And everyone looks around as if to say, that was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah,
why did he come up
everyone's
to the
afraid
roof?
because that's like an act of violence, but at the same time, he did need shushing. Let's be fair.
I guess he's protecting his son and protecting the cat.
We don't see exactly what's happened. I don't know whether he broke his neck by mistake, whether he sort of strangled him, whether he shushed him so hard he pushed his finger right through his face. I don't know.
We know he just
Crushed
gave him
him
a
like a
lovely
little egg.
chiropractic adjustment to death. Is what he did. It says here Henry accidentally kills him in the process of keeping him silent. How did you accidentally do it? Well, I used all of my strength to
Snap his head off.
to knock his head off. That was an accident. Well, I didn't mean to. I don't know my own
I just
strength.
need to shush him.
Then we first get introduced to the aliens up close when Frodo goes to bloody wander off. And what's the noise? Is it the bell? Is that
Little jingly bell, I think.
Little jingly bell.
Mhm.
And that brings one of them into the building. I say into the building, like obliterates 1/4 of the building just to get in. And then we get a lot of this in this film as well. And I get it's for tension, but like the amount of like face to face between characters and alien, like literally
Mm.
an inch, like
Mm.
I don't care if that was happening to me. Something would escape from my body.
They can't see you,
sound.
Ben. You could be sitting there when they're that close to you like this. They wouldn't know.
I think I would generally just go. I think I would whimper. That's the thing. It wouldn't be like I just do a little whimper and that'd be it. It'd be over for me. Not long after that, obviously the power cuts out and then the bloody generator turns. Can you imagine?
I know.
You just. But then
The
I'd be like,
slightest
I'm
noise
going to get
happens.
away from the generator. It's far away. I ain't going nowhere near it.
Yeah, let them go and thump the generator. Why risk yourself by going
Yeah.
to turn it off? But that is not what Alex Wolff thinks about doing. He
Yeah.
and aren't they having a little text message conversation beforehand, right? She's writing on her notepad that she's
Gonna go get pizza.
yeah, I'm off to get
And
pizza.
he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what a laugh that is." But no,
bring us a
she's
slice of pepperoni back.
being totally serious.
But then you're right, the power goes off, the generator kicks on, and he goes to turn it off. And then once again, like when any noise comes up, one of those nasty leggy venoms comes bursting in like Stone Cold Steve Austin, smashes off the wall.
Like
the music enters and they stomp a mud hole in him, walks it dry.
You think he's all right for a second, then you think he switched it off, and he kind of goes, "I've done it." Whoosh.
John Krasinski's it.
Yeah.
Yes, John Krasinski. See you later. I kind of like the fact that Sam is still committed to her idea of, so she wants to go to Harlem to find the pizza place and get some pizza. I like that she's still committed to it. You know, end of the world scenario could throw a lot of people's plans into disarray. But
She's Woody
she's
Harrelson in Zombieland, right? She's like, I'm getting
I was just
Twinkie.
thinking that. Yeah.
I respect it. I respect it. I think, you know, to be driven by food is probably what most of us are. But I like that. Nothing stands in the way.
I think if there's any food that's going to take you across an abandoned, quiet place city, a nice New York slice has got to be the one, right?
Or a
Yeah.
packet of nerds, right, Andy?
A packet of nerds, yeah. That would be me in that open-ended scene. I'd just be like, fuck it, shake them.
Or trying to get them down your neck, but quietly.
Just wait for the thunder so you can
Yeah.
punch them.
Wait for the
Quick as you
thunder.
can.
So yeah, she just leaves everyone, doesn't she? Leaves everyone behind.
Oh, is
See
this
you
like
later.
she heads out because the helicopter's going past it. Right, evacuations, everyone. Soz about bombing the bridges, by the way, but you have to. But they can't swim, so take shelter in water. Meet us on the South Street docks.
Yeah. And she stumbles across two kids, gives them like oh wait, she goes in the shop first and gets some supplies with a lovely I Love New York bag.
Tries to open a tin of cat food, and
oh yeah, silently
cats
opens
have
a
got-
tin of cat food.
this is when I thought then, this is when I got what I messaged you earlier, that living in a quiet place is like when you're 16, you get back to your parents' house off your face on cider, and you're trying to be really quiet. Her opening that tin of cat food, like
Yeah.
every single second. of
Putting something in
opening
the
that can.
microwave and then waiting before it dings so you can just grab it just really quickly. Or was that
And
too
then
risky?
You manage to be ever so quiet, and then you fall down the stairs or something at the very end.
Or you like go back with someone, like I don't know, your mate. You'd be like, "Oh mate, I can't get a taxi. Can I stay at yours? Can I stay at yours?" Yeah, but you got to be completely quiet because no one could know. And then they just walk in and just start speaking at normal volume, and you're like,
You Henry him.
"I'll shoot you to death."
Your parents
Everything's so
understand
much
it.
louder in the kitchen at 2 a.m. though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so I tell you what, I don't want to leave a mess when my mum and dad come down in the morning. I'll just put this glass away.
I thought you were going to say you're going to silently do the washing up then.
Just a trickle of water.
Yeah, what are you doing?
And then you
I'll
start
silently put some washing on.
and even after you've been up, you end up still doing the things that it would be normal for you to be doing, very quite like okay, I'm just going to go for a wee before I go to bed, and you're still trying to do that quietly. It's like, no one would have a problem with you going for a wee in the middle of the night. That's fine.
That's absolutely fine. You're allowed to do that. It reminds me of. Did you ever watch the sketch show Cardinal Burns that was on like E4 years ago?
Tiny bit of
Seriously
it.
underrated sketch show. No one ever talks about it. There's a great sketch where a guy wakes up after what is clearly a one-night stand, and he's really, really quietly getting up out of bed, getting his arm out from underneath her, going to the bottom of the bed, putting on his clothes ever so quietly, and then suddenly he starts putting a big drum on his back. What's going on here? That's strange. That's weird. He is in a one-man band, and he's putting on all of the stuff, and then quietly, even with the harmonica in his mouth, quietly leaving. Absolutely gold.
Genius. That's what she does anyway. She's trying to open all of those things, and then just after this is get you got, because of all of their good qualities, you know what cats aren't good at doing? Eating silently. Shamming away is Rhoda.
Can you just make
if anyone
like
ever
water
tells you
noises?
eat like a cat, that's not them being cute. That's them being really offended by the way you eat.
So she finds these two kids like hiding under a fountain. They're absolutely ravenous. She gives them something
What
to
does she
eat.
give them?
I guess
Like
like a
a
chocolate bar or something.
Freeze
Yeah.
poles. There's the ice pops.
Yeah, it's like chocolate or something like that, isn't it? Have a little
Yeah.
bit of chocky. They're starving. They've just been standing under there the whole time.
It's only been
Jesus.
like what, a day though? Like Cam
Yeah, that's
didn't
true.
like.
Yeah.
I'm glad she got rid of them quite quickly because I was worried. I think the kids in the quiet place, like the first two, are the most annoying thing
Yeah.
in it. So I
Mm.
was like, oh, I really didn't want her to get saddled with
Yeah.
two children. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that she. I mean, it makes sense because she put them into safety, hopefully, unless they got ripped apart the minute that one jumped into the crowd. But yeah, I'm glad she didn't feel like burdened to look after them because she
I
obviously
like
was
that she
intended to.
knows, like she knows what she wants to commit herself to,
Yeah.
doesn't she? She's like, my goal is literally
Getting
pizza.
some pizza.
So this film isn't supposed to just tell us that caring for two kids is more important than caring about pizza and a cat. That's not what this film's about.
Live
I
your
think
life.
she's allowed to be selfish, especially because she's dying
Yeah.
and this like
Yeah.
we don't know how long she has, and like her medication gets all screwed up by
Oh,
the
yeah, of
explosions
course.
and things. So like
By the
I
being a
think
quiet place. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I think she is allowed to be completely selfish and just and I think she's still like nice about it. She shouldn't have to give them food or even help them like on her way. I think she does the decent thing, but yeah, it goes for the no, I'm gonna do mathing before I like can never get back to New York again because it'll be absolutely decimated.
She gives him a
Yeah.
chocolate bar, gives the little one a rocket, and says, "Right, I've taken the batteries out of this. Learn a lesson from this."
Oh no. So
Honestly,
yeah, so
worst idea.
we just see loads of people, all the civilians, sort of like going towards the seaport, isn't it? Where they're gonna like start evacuating people.
They've all
Creatures
got their
can't bloody
noise
swim.
making things. One's got.
Yeah.
I've got to bring my,
Their
I've got to bring my
noise-making
jar of
thing.
pennies with me.
So they've literally survived like this, like up to this point, I guess, by being quiet. So surely they all know you've got to be quiet. You can't be walking
mean,
along with your.
The person in the wheelchair, fair enough. The person with
Yeah.
the suitcase, immediate death. Like, like what
Yeah.
did they need to bring that was so
What have you got
important
in
that
there?
they couldn't put it in a backpack or just carry it in your arms? Like, yeah, and it just
Wear all those
even though
clothes
then
like Joey Tribbiani, or when you're going in a Ryanair flight.
exactly. I think the whole mentality of everyone to like try and evacuate en masse as well just speaks to the what's the like Men in Black quote, like people are smart. No, a person's smart, but people are dumb. I think that's exactly what it is. Like they just like, oh, we'll just all go together and that won't make noise. Like, no, take your shoes off. At least try and keep like
Yeah,
come
take your
on.
shoes off.
You go in the next street over.
Yeah.
Those shoes are
New
really
York is
really
based on a
squeaky.
grid system. They will all go there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
those shoes
You know,
are
to
really
say with
squeaky.
that,
I'm
like,
wearing
will-
them in. With the
Will
the
they
guy
have
on the
music
wheelchair
on the
there,
island?
I'd be like,
Shall I bring my tambourine?
the guy in the wheelchair, I'd be like, I've got this lovely, thick, luxurious carpet. I'm gonna just roll it down in front of you, and then when you're over the top of it, I'll bring it round for you again. It's fine. I'll commit to that. But yeah,
Someone else,
everyone's
I'm going to put
noisy.
these spokies on my bike before I ride it down to the. These are all the worst ideas, everybody. Why are we doing this?
So yeah, she kind of like is walking the opposite direction as everybody else who's on their way to get evacuated, and pretty quick sharp the quiet place monsters. Have they got like an official name?
It's like Angel, something Angel.
Is there?
Because I saw Joseph Quinn that doing an interview, and they mentioned it in the interview, and they were both like, "What are that?" And they were like, "Oh no, it's the thing. It's the thing out of our film."
Death Angel.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
a
that
weird
anyone
thing
ever
to say.
says that in
I'm
any of the
sticking-
films,
I'm
but
sticking
that's
with Leggy Venom. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
Bloody Death Angels. Oh, the bloody Death Angels. I am kind of interested in, like, I know this is a prequel and them arriving is just a prequel, but I am kind of still interested in like how and why and where they came from, even though that probably wouldn't be a very interesting prequel, but I'm still like pretty interested to know. What do they want? Have they just like randomly landed here? They've not like aimed to come and
Peace and quiet is what they want,
come
Ben.
to
They
Earth.
come from a planet which is even noisier than New York City. Everyone that makes noise is even more invincible than them. So they're there just like big booming people making noise, and they're trying to punch them. Can't. They're immune to it. They've
So
evolved to be punch
it is
proof.
kind of surprising that no one's worked, because I think it takes it's quite a while before we work out in the first film that like
Takes a
high-pitched
whiteboard in the first one, doesn't it? John Krasinski's been working on that conundrum
Oh
for
yeah.
100 days. What is the weakness?
I'm surprised. Like, sure, I always thought like surely the military or something would have worked that out. If they've worked out they don't like water, someone somewhere would have worked this out and passed it on. Well, I guess maybe it is day one. I get it, but it is kind of annoying. Maybe in the game you'll have like some sort of high pitched.
Well, that's the thing. Do we think it? I mean, we never see it. Is it all over the world? Is it just America? I mean, trying to land in this
All over the
country,
world, yeah. So
there's
there was
little
someone
little
with a
buddy
globe,
island.
wasn't
Can't be
there?
landing in the sea everywhere.
You're about to say that, Kim, weren't you?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say there was the lady with the globe and the post-its that
Yeah.
I guess implied she'd been hearing radio signals from all over the world with people just going bananas about it. So yeah, I guess it was
Well annoyed,
everywhere.
wouldn't you? If you lived
Yeah.
in like, I don't know, Cheltenham, you'd just be like, well, I live in Cheltenham. Obviously, nothing terrible is going to happen there because it's going to happen in one of the big cities. Have you seen the Leggy Venoms have turned up in Cheltenham High Street?
I'd actually be more interested when we see these things. If they do, give me an anthology show that has like half a dozen shorts in that, and I want A Quiet Place Cheltenham.
Or just like, I don't know, in the quiet countryside or something, because it'd be like a different sort of a different challenge for people to survive. Yeah, so it's worldwide. So yeah, shit show really, isn't it? So when it all kicks off now, what is the actual thing that sets it off when they're on the crowd? Oh, because they're all just like creeping down the sides of the buildings, aren't they? So I think we know everyone's making too much noise.
Because there's a little bit of
residual
noise, it sort of draws them in, doesn't it? Not at the same
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin pace we get when there's a big, but there's just enough noise that is right. Right, I'm clenching my fist. I'm coming down.
Clenching my fist. Yeah. And then when it kicks off, Sam manages to crawl underneath a car, but then a guy like randomly just starts grabbing at her. Like
He grabs
"Oh,
it, and
no."
again, like, forgets all the rules. He's like, bloody hell!
He
He
gets slurped off, and then the car like collapses, trapping Sam's leg.
Just remember,
How does she get out? She just yanks it out.
she just tries real hard and then gets out.
She just tries real hard. Oh, she's done for. She's done for. No, she's out. It's fine.
She grits her teeth a bit and then is out. She's all right.
And then she again. How often like she gets separated from the cat like so many times, and I don't know.
He
I
just
should learn my
keeps
lesson.
finds his way back, right? Every
Every time
time.
it happens, I'm like, oh shit, where's the cat?
He's back in a minute.
It's just playing with my emotions the whole time, and the cat's like, I feel like the cat don't care. Do you know what I mean? That's what annoys me the most.
The cat has got big tails energy. You worry that he's gone, and then the second you've accidentally just floats
big
back
tails
down.
energy. Oh no, tails.
Oh, he's fallen down the pillow. Oh, he's back. He's all right.
He's
You
absolutely
leave him
fine.
behind, and he just drifts down on his little tails.
What a bloody legend. He's all right. yeah, so that is around about now that we're introduced to Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, an English law student. He escapes the flooded subway station. And he encounters Frodo. You'd be confused, wouldn't you, if you came up from a flooded subway station just to have a little cat watching you, a little cat with a little fringe. That's what he's got, isn't it? Is it a fringe? Yeah. He if anyone's been following England in the Euros, he looks a little bit like Phil Foden. Little head, little funny little fringe going on. That's why I just referred to him for the rest of the film. Little Phil Foden.
I ever feel like I'd gone into some sort of afterlife situation. If I was 1 minute on a train that was flooded, and then I woke up in a flooded subway station, half drowned, and then the first thing I saw
Yeah.
was a cat, I'd be like,
This is
"It's
the
the
end.
afterlife, I guess. I'm in hell. Seeing this cat."
This is the afterlife. Yeah, and he just kind of appears with the cat,
Yeah, the
like
cat kind of
looking
like
at Sam, doesn't
lures
he? Yeah,
him
that's right.
back. Like they follows him. I guess he maybe logically thinks like, oh, there'll probably be life if I follow the cat, and then they just kind
Mhm.
of find each other, which I quite liked. Like cats
Yeah,
in horror films are always smarter than a lot of the humans, so I quite like the fact that, yeah, Frodo's quite kind of responsible for bringing them together.
it's interesting to have a cat like so prominent in the story here because I think in like most horror films, the cat, apart from the cat in Alien, the name of which is I've forgotten.
Jonesy.
Jones, yeah.
So many
Jonesy.
people eat shit in Alien because of Jonesy. Like, should I go and look for the cat? I'd be like, no, mate, space is hard. The cat will be fine. Let's
The
just
cat will be
escape.
absolutely fine.
Are you sure? Should we all split up and go and look for him and most of us be eaten? Yeah, actually, let's do that.
But I think in most horror films, apart from Alien, like cats would just hiss and run away, and then you never see them again. Or in other films, the cat would get got, which is not fair. Whereas this one, like, yeah, Frodo is incredibly prominent in the plot, and he's the glue that binds Eric and Sam together in a way, I guess. Um, but yeah, he
When they
follows
first
after
meet,
Sam's.
Sam is
Sam's
like,
like,
don't follow me, because following the cat, actually.
Yeah.
Speaks highly of yourself.
follow the cat, actually. Well, the cat's following me, so you're following. No, not interested. Um, uh, and then what is that when they go back to her apartment pretty quickly from here,
Yeah,
right?
she wants him not to follow him, but then I think she comes to a realization that actually he's not okay.
Yeah.
I think they can talk under the rain. She explains talk underneath the rain.
Hmm.
Goes, what? Yeah, don't
Oh
follow
yeah.
me. It's okay. And then and then she needs to break into her house. I think she needs some of her medication, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, she's going a bit behind on the medication she would be taking daily, and then she gets Eric to kick the door in, timing it perfectly for the thunder. Again, I feel like I don't want to take the risk, but they do it. They get in, and yeah, they have there's a good amount of character development within this sort of scene, or the time they spend there, finding out about her dad who passed away, finding out about other things. She obviously tells him she's unwell. Did she tell him that?
Yeah, he kind of reads a poem, doesn't she gives him
Oh
a
yeah.
poem
Oh my
that kind
God.
of explains that like her time is kind
But
of
again, that was really
limited.
good. That was really
Yeah.
good. I feel like there were so many other ways that they could have easily transferred that information from one character to another one, but the fact they do it like that felt really sort of quite measured and quite
And in
well
many
I know,
done.
ways,
because
sorry, Kim, you go.
I was just gonna say, I think just saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm dying" in a post-apocalyptic world probably wouldn't have had the same impact. But you kind of, yeah, using
Yeah, you
her
go
poetry to kind of
same.
convey how she's been feeling about that for however long she's known she's dying was, yeah, a lot more interesting. And yeah, I think Joseph Quinn's cry face is great. So giving him something he could just be sad to was a good piece
Yeah,
of
it is good.
acting as well. Yeah.
And in a piece of mainstream entertainment, you tricked people into listening to an entire poem. So well done.
I think it's so she's like a proper published poet, like an acclaimed and
Hmm.
published poet. Despite the fact that the first poem you hear from her is just, I guess it's called shit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she's got better ones. I'm
Yeah.
sure she's
That's
got
a real
better ones.
sophomore slump there. She's like her debut poems that we see now are much better. If there
Mhm.
was still an English literature exam, she'd be in the anthology. Get out of it, Seamus Heaney. It's Sam's turn now.
The next morning, Sam just like leaves, doesn't she? I mean, I'm assuming
Tells him she's going for
it's
pizza.
it's her way of just abandoning him like easily
Mm.
without having to go. But then he's like a bad smell,
Mm.
sticking around, following after her. And it's a good job he does really, because I feel like him being here in this moment, I think if she was on her own, this would have been the end for her, because she knocked something over and loads of them start attacking. And I think it's because Eric manages to create some sort of diversion by smashing, wazzing stones or bricks into car windows, setting off the old
He gets
alarms.
the saving grace of many a film. If you've got half a brick on you, there's seldom a problem that you can't solve, and he just whizzes it through the window, sets off the car alarms. The leggy venoms have to go and thump the cars because they make more of a noise, which makes a big domino effect. Like literally, cars are exploding into other cars. They're going to be at that for hours. They're going to sleep well
Hours
tonight.
and hours. I don't think there's anyone here. Well, let's just give these cars. Let's just give these mush of cars
What's that?
another punch.
It's like that bonus stage in Street Fighter, smashing a car to bits.
You can tell Eric's played Left 4 Dead because he thinks of smashing those car windows to make the car alarms
Yeah.
go off like instantly. Like he's running and he's panicking and he's just like boom, like this is gonna distract him. And yeah, again,
Sam
I
looks
just loved
back.
how
He's Left 4 Dead.
yeah.
What 360?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, again, I think it's quite good how quickly they kind of just figure the basic stuff out. Because I guess that's all you need to, because if you're in the mob and you're doing like absolutely daft stuff, you're gonna get munched pretty easily. They just figure out the basics quite quickly, I think is why they manage to survive
Yeah.
as long as they do.
Is this the next bit when they end up in a church? Sam's sort of like,
They got to go to the sewer first
did they go to the sewer
Oh
first?
yeah.
to get washed up into the church.
Oh,
This
yeah,
feels
of
like we get.
course.
This feels like we get. I think we pulled out video game references forever today, and the one thing I will say about this part of the movie, I think we've had some wonderful character work and the relationship's really good. But I will say this for some of the set pieces in the film, I do feel a little bit video gamey. Now it's the water level, like that's
Yeah. This is like the last. This is like the Last of Us. I think there is a sort of flooded subway.
So go
in
into
The
a flooded
Last of
subway,
Us.
and obviously, well, Joseph Quinn, he's like, no, again, I've just been in one of these. It was awful. Honestly,
I think this bit was one of the actual scariest bits though, because the creature like running on the ceiling,
Yeah.
and obviously getting closer and closer to the water, but knowing that it couldn't really get them in the water, but I guess if they were too close, it probably could have killed them. And then
Yeah.
it did the total like Sonic 2, like did it just died like under the
Yeah.
under the
Wait for a
water.
bubble.
Yeah, while they like floated away. So yeah, I thought that bit was great. I think yeah, Sid's like I'm not always keen on seeing a lot of the monsters, but I think bits like this where it
Yeah,
really
this
kind
was
of
good.
actually felt like properly scary, I think was quite impressive.
And again, we see the moment with the cat underwater. I was just
Yeah.
like, is he all right? He didn't seem, to be fair, didn't seem bothered.
Mm.
Came up like, oh, that was stressful. So yeah, when they end up in the church, Sam is kind of pretty tired at this point, struggling. Obviously, she's a bit behind on her medication, and Eric says, "What medication do you need?" And we get like a nice fetch quest for him to go to the pharmacy. Get yourself to the pharmacy, and when you're on the way, stumble across the big old nest of the. Oh yeah,
this is where we see a boss
right
one,
in the middle,
right? So this is
Yeah. The big mama one.
yeah, this is like a bit more A Quiet Place lore because we've seen regulars. What
Mhm.
extra powers has this boss one got apart from being able to boss the others around and tell them to eat up some eggs?
I don't know really.
Yeah, does it lay
Extra.
the eggs? Did the eggs come down from space with them? Like, I'm not really sure. Yeah.
So that's what they're eating. So they're not like multiplying; they're eating the eggs, right?
They eat little
Mhm.
dippy eggs. They
Yeah.
are quite. They are
Lovely
very jammy. Those eggs.
dippy
Yeah.
eggs. Have you got any soldiers? Anyone got any soldiers?
Maybe that's what they get people for. They want to eat the
Dip
eggs. They've got to get like that little
their
boy with
little
his
heads
rocket in
in.
the first one. They go and dip him in those eggs. As soon as they whisk him off.
The point where Eric was climbing up like a beam to try and get the cat back, while all the eggs were below him and the big mama one was right next to his head. If I was him, I'd have gone, "What am I doing? How have I ended up in this situation?
This is
the
when you look
worst
at the
situation
camera
ever."
little records. I bet you're wondering how I ended up.
But you're wondering. Yep,
I
that's me.
you only knew he wasn't going to die because he had Sam's medication, and then if he died, she would have died. So I was just like sitting in the cinema. I was like this, because I was like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I do not want to watch you get torn apart by two very similar looking creatures in two different franchises. But yeah, I think I kept saying that. I was like, I as much as I love the cat has come back by itself in many other situations. I would have just trusted that the cat was
Yeah, you
going
would
to
have
climb
left
up
it,
and then
wouldn't you?
just yeah, you would have gone back with the medication.
You'd have
It was a
tails
bit.
back down in a second. Where's the cat?
It'll be fine.
There he is.
He does manage to survive with the medication. It's kind of like one of those system things, isn't it? You kind of like stick on yourself. So he gives that back to her, and her health bar goes up. We see that happen.
He's put a yellow herb in there, and she actually got a bigger health bar than she had before.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Got a health upgrade. Yeah, what I will say at this moment is I think this is one of the most effective things about the whole Quiet Place franchise. This is a great film to watch in the cinema. When you watch it at home, and obviously you're more relaxed and you're talking, and if you're about to sort, you're checking your phone or whatever. But when you watch these in the cinema, more effectively than almost any other horror franchise I think that is out there working today, it creates an environment of you wanting to be absolutely silent when you're watching that, because it is so quiet in those movies. I tell you what, everyone, this is a new film at the cinema. If you haven't seen one of these before and you're thinking of going to this, don't bother getting snacks at the cinema for this one. There is no good time to eat them.
Oh my
Literally
God,
no
yes.
good time. Unless you're going to sit there and you're going to slurp those minstrels until they melt in your mouth, you ain't getting any of this.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. There was a few moments where I was eating something and I was like, oh, bloody hell. Be quiet now.
Getting a popcorn, trying to unwrap your opal fruits in the cinema, Ben. No good time for it.
Well, oh, they're all individually wrapped as well.
I bought a tube of Pringles. When's this? Never. When the credits are rolling, Ben.
A tube of Pringles, Jesus. Yeah, there's a bit more character development. They're sort of sharing stories. Sam tells Eric the story about, watching her late father play jazz at the club, and they get a lovely bit of pizza at a place called Patsy's afterwards, which is exactly what Sam wants to do. And it's nice because Eric doesn't say, "You what? The bloody world's ending. The bloody world's ending, love. What you going for pizza?" He is just like, "Yeah, all right, let's go and get it." Which is interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that he would do that. It kind of makes me kind of want to know a little bit more about him. I think we get a little bit of backstory to him, but not too much.
Mom and Dad are in Kent. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
What was that?
His mom and dad are in Kent. He's at law
That's
school.
it. My mum and dad are in Kent, and she goes, "Oh no, sorry to hear that."
So as far as his mom and dad are concerned, living in Kent, nothing else in the UK exists. Nothing north of there, certainly.
Nothing.
The rest of us are already dead, mate.
What happens next? Oh yeah, so essentially they go to find we get like a little bit of a travel sequence, Fellowship of the Ring style, them traveling across New York. They do manage to find the pizza place, but you never guess what? It's bloody blown up. It's burned. I don't want to say burned down, but it's just burned from the inside. I'd still go in though. I feel like, even if it looked like that, I'd still be like, well, you never know. Pizza might be in the oven. Might be all right.
Maybe that's why it's burned down.
Yeah, that happened yesterday. It wasn't connected.
Did you take the pizzas out the oven before we ran out?
Before the Quiet Place happened. And then one of the timers went off, and then the thing just punched the oven.
Punched the oven to dust.
Oh no! That would have otherwise been fine, but the timer was on.
But Eric does go and get some similar pizza, but then I don't know.
Absolute hero. Oh no, absolute hero.
But at the same time, is this like, oh, can we get Domino's tonight? And someone's gone, I've got a pizza from Asda in the freezer.
Dr. Eric said there's some perfectly good pizzas I'll have.
Domino's exploded, so you're gonna have to eat your
you're gonna have pizza at home. The pizza at home,
pizza's good pizza,
though, isn't it? Cardboard pizza.
I think he tries. It's so cute how hard he tries for this person that he's only known like a day, and he must know how important it is to her. And he obviously the
Yeah.
like emotional support that she's given him. I think it's so cute that it's like when I was little, my granny used to make me like a hamburger supper in the house, but she would like wrap it up in like newspaper and bring it through to me. So it was like a whole pretend chippy on the couch, and I feel like it's like that
Oh,
where it is a
yeah.
bit of a like not exactly what you were dreaming of, but then you just get the whole experience while you're eating it. And I feel like he just tries really hard to give her that. And I know even when she eats the pizza, she makes a face like, no, it's not exactly, but it's like as close as I'm gonna get, especially in a post-apocalyptic world. I
Yeah.
just think the fact he even goes to the effort of like, yeah, getting the pen and again, just even going out to get the pizza. They're in like somewhere kind of safety and going out again into the world by himself to get that pizza for her. It's so cute. I love it.
Do you reckon it's another
What
big
a
ordeal?
hero.
Do you reckon round the corner there's a completely untouched pizzeria that he's just able to walk into?
It's a
That's right,
chain
this
and
one
they've
was
just got
fine.
like 8 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. This one was closed for refurbishment. So actually, this is the fridge is chockers full of pizza. There's another scene where he's properly like rolling out the dough, tossing it in the air.
He does
Oh yeah,
write on
because
the
I was
box,
I was a
doesn't
law
he?
student. I was working at this pizzeria around the corner. Which I know it's not this one, but
He does write the name of the pizzeria on the box, doesn't he? Patsy's, which
Yeah.
is again a nice little touch. He essentially gets her up on stage, does a little magic trick, and pretending there's an audience as well. It's all lovely. Swilling the whiskey as well, which is
yeah.
nice. And I did think that maybe this was going to be a moment that she said to him, you take the cat and go on and escape, and maybe I'm going to stay here. And I kind of feel like it would have worked just as well if that had happened. But I guess maybe they needed to put in this little moment of kind of sacrifice as well.
Some swap jackets as well. Yeah, you and mine.
Oh yeah,
This will be a laugh.
yeah. Why do they do that?
Just
I
a laugh, just a laugh, innit?
I saw a thing afterwards, and I didn't notice at the time, so I'm not going to take credit. I think I read it on like BuzzFeed or something that her cardigan is the cardigan her dad's wearing in the photo at the end in the pizza place. So it
Okay.
was like her dad's. So it's like she's passing it on to him so that it still
Got
survives,
you.
I guess. But I can't confirm that because I didn't see it with my own eyes. But I read that and I was like, oh, that's quite cute if that's
Yeah.
true. Because I guess it was impressive that it fit him. But I guess if it was her dad's, it probably was like a kind of
Yeah.
One
oversized
size.
It was
cardigan. Yeah,
one size fits all. It was pretty big
exactly.
and baggy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, do you want to swap clothes for a laugh? Everything,
Yeah.
literally everything. Well,
Tell you what, we've done a bit of a magic trick now. For tomorrow's event, come dressed as each other. Don't do it offensively. Don't like don't wear a
do it in a
t-shirt that
horrible
says
way.
"big massive idiot." Not that.
He was just he was pulling a Lando Calrissian at the end and just rocking up in Han Solo's clothes for
His
yeah.
entire
no
outfit.
reason.
I
Yeah.
like that, though. I feel like that's a power. I feel that's a power move.
Yeah.
So they leave, heading towards the river. They see boats on the river, and I think the boats are playing not playing, but like shouting for survivors, aren't they? Because all the creatures are kind of like lurking on the edge of the river, which
They're
is
really
pretty
just
creepy.
drawing all the creatures
Yeah.
to them because they keep blasting the horn. Like I know they
Playing.
can't get the people on the boat, but they're making it very difficult for the people on
Yeah, they
land to
are.
make it to the boat because they're making as much noise as possible.
Playing Bananarama's goodbye as they like sail off to this island. Na 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 na. Do you think this will stop other people? Look, I've just escaped. I'm going to taunt them. All right, like I don't tell you. Let's get it. Plus, I am Henri, the Shush Master General. If you give me any
Oh
sass,
yeah, because
I'm going to snap your head off.
everyone. What we don't realize on there is that everyone on the boat is terrified of him. Good death.
Don't say anything against him because he has the power to accidentally kill you.
Oh, another accident, was it? This is the sixth person you've murdered in the last 2 days. All accidents, all right? All accidents.
Just
Don't point the finger.
heavy-handed. He's a real Lenny from of Mice and Men.
I just love people so much. That's what I love them to death.
You know, another sad story. Sometimes my wife calls me Lenny because, you know, especially in the morning when it's like, oh, I'm going to give you a hug and be really nice. And I'll just completely misjudge it.
Jesus.
We're like, oh, you've broken my rib.
Broken my rib.
You poke me in the eye. Go to like stroke a face in the morning. Like, no, it's got that wrong. She's like, bloody hell, Lenny. Like, One day she'll tell me to look at the
Bloody hell,
rabbits and
Lenny,
shoot
not
me in the
again.
back of the head. Spoilers for Of Mice and Men.
Sam, she gives Frodo to Eric and then runs off, distracting the creature, smashing car windows. And I mean, it's a good distraction, but Eric still only gets away by the skin of his teeth, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like this is a good scene. I think like this is a good shot of them all like running towards her, and then what does he do? He kicks them, and then he kicks a can
He
of
kicks a can, yeah.
Vimto or something, so they all come sprinting towards him, and he's running with I feel sorry for the cat in this situation because he's probably like the cat must be absolutely terrified.
Yeah,
but he
dives
leaps
into the water.
I
And
kind
they've
of
got
like
long arms. They almost get him. They're like,
they do.
oh no, don't go in the water. Don't go in the water. Don't go in the water. Almost went in. Then.
They kind of almost do go in the water, and they're almost like, oh.
Yeah.
But they learn the hard way, I'm sure. I kind of liked it in this moment. We don't just see Sam get like I was worried that he was going to look back, she was going to be stood there, or maybe waving at him, and then suddenly she would get whooshed away. Luckily, that doesn't happen. He finds a note in his jacket from Sam, telling him to take care of Frodo, and thanking Eric for a reminder to live. And yeah, if any moment was going to get you and make you blub, it was this. Bottom lip's going and everything.
As is his. He's on the boat. They've all
that's what I meant.
Got him back up, and he's having a real sad time. And they get, thought you'd be happy, mate. I've just saved you.
I'm just a little bit overwhelmed, you know. I just nearly died.
Well, at least we know
that bad.
At least we know he should survive, because I think Henri says in A Quiet Place 2 that like only a couple of boats made it. But his was one of them, obviously. So if he's on the same boat, hopefully he didn't get ripped apart on the island in the second.
And maybe this is your setup for if the series does continue.
Yeah.
If we link this up, he wasn't famous when A Quiet Place Part 2 came out, but that island is a place where it happens. Yeah, you could do an added scene where it's just like he slept in that day, and he's like,
where's everyone?
Henri, they've got him. Oh, but a girl's come and she's got the secret to killing him. She does a feedback loop with a thing, and she now plays that through the radio. And now we're going to have our revenge. Maybe meet this boss character that I saw earlier in New York again. Teams up him, Cillian Murphy, the girl, those three.
Frodo. And Frodo.
And Frodo. He'll be in it.
He'll be in it. So yeah, he survives, and essentially the last sequence is Sam chilling in the. I guess she's doing a jazz club. Is she eating pizza? What's she doing? Oh,
I think she goes to the actual pizza place, doesn't she, to look at the photo?
That's right.
And I just again, this wasn't something I noticed. This was something my hardware editor boyfriend noticed, but I'm going to bring it up because when she is at the beginning and she has her iPod and she's playing music on it, it's like an iPod Classic, but the iPod she has plugged in at the speakers at the end is an iPod Nano. Where did she get? I honestly can't remember if I missed, because I know when we go to the jazz club originally, she plugs that iPod into the speaker. Was that an iPod that was just there? Was it never meant to be her iPod? Did they just forget the continuity and wanted two iPods in it? I searched for it, and someone's got a Reddit thread about it, but no one has any answers.
Is there a deleted scene where she goes onto her iTunes account and authorizes a new device and downloads a song library to it?
I'll tell you what's loud when you're scrolling on the classic iPod.
Right.
That's another one of those characters that gets got when they're all walking things. Someone's got the text tone still on their phone. Going to rescue.
Do you bloody mind? And yeah, the last scene is her walking through the streets, listening to Nina Simone's "Feeling Good" on her iPod, and then in the last moments where she's obviously ready to take control of her own fate and die. I don't know. I'd still be like annoyed letting the bloody Venoms get me. I'd still want to die because you know what I mean. Pass away quietly in the pizzeria, looking at the photo. They're gonna obliterate you. They're gonna smash you to dust. Doesn't seem fair.
I think there are more peaceful ways to go than being absolutely obliterated by a noise alien.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm sure it's not even in the top 10 most peaceful ways to go.
No. It makes a good. It is a good. Yeah, I think you're right. What you said earlier. It is a great final scene. I do think it probably didn't need the alien like doofing down in the background, but I do
Yeah.
think it is good. And it was a good way to like. Obviously, the Quiet Place films aren't famous for having a lot of music in them, so it was a good way to get a nice wee bit of music in before the end. But yeah, you probably didn't need the alien popping down.
Bad
Yeah,
Moon
I don't think
Rising.
I would. I don't think I would ever pick getting punched apart by one of those guys as
No,
my
you
death.
wouldn't.
I think I
Oh
would go
wait,
through a bunch of other options.
not Bad Moon Rising. What song were we talking about earlier?
Don't fear the Reaper.
Don't
Oh
Fear the
yeah.
Reaper. Bad Moon Rising is the other one, though, isn't it? Bad Moon
Yeah.
Rising is the other. That is
Credence are
Yeah.
also doing very well out of the horror genre.
exactly.
It
Credence
crops up,
Clearwater
yeah.
Revival, not Credence.
And that's it. That's the end. I don't think another film is currently in the
Of
works.
A Quiet Place, days 1 to 3.
Quiet Place Days 1 to 3. Very nice. Andy, have you got any name game?
I'm sure I can come up with something, Ben.
You're gonna come up with some.
What's
Okay.
the synopsis of the film?
A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of invasion by alien creatures with ultra sensitive hearing.
Okay, I'm just going to change the one word for this one. So a woman named Sam finds herself in New York City as it is invaded by loads of versions of the horrible demon Valak, and the Warrens are nowhere to be found.
Malak.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Day None.
A Quiet Place, Day None.
Quiet Place, Day None.
It's Valak
Okay.
at it again, back in the habit.
What was the synopsis again? A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of invasion by alien creatures with ultra sensitive hearing, and they stumble into the nest of one of these creatures. And if you listen quietly, you can hear one of the creatures whispering to another one, telling it what to do with the eggs, the mummy egg, what it does with the eggs. A Quiet Place. What could you do with an egg?
Just
How is
take
it?
one.
Nearly. Rhymes with day. How would the eggs come to pass? How would the eggs
lay one?
lay one? Sorry, that was off the top of the dome. It felt much better in my head than it did. Any more, Andy?
Got an incredibly obscure one. I don't believe I've not thought of an easier
I've got
rhyme
an
before
incredibly
this.
obscure one. It's not like you.
So the year is somewhere in the 1980s,
God damn it.
and the actor that plays Treguard in children's TV game show Nightmare begins his first day at work on the new job.
Treguard.
Yeah,
I mean, that might be too
that
niche,
actor.
even for me. Can I Google it? Or is that the answer?
I think at least one listener will get this, but the answer is: are you googling it, Ben?
Hugo?
Yeah, what's his last name?
Myatt.
Yeah, there you go. A Hugo Myatt place, day one.
Oh my God. What is wrong with you? There is something seriously wrong with. I thought it was gonna fit like into the title of that. Like
It does. Hugo Myatt place.
Okay. This one isn't niche, but it might be confusing. A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of invasion by alien creatures with ultra sensitive hearing. She's trapped with a man from London, Cockney man. He's on holiday, sunning himself, and Ben Kingsley is going to come and give him an earful anytime soon. Cockney actor. I think he supports West Ham.
You think mine are obscure, but Cockney actor that supports West Ham.
His daughter's in that film Donkey Punch. Maybe that's even more of a I've put brackets in as well, which is kind of like a cheat. He's also in a load of betting adverts. Here, have you thought of putting some money on this game, you slag? No?
It's in a load of betting adverts. And
Shall I
his
tell you?
son is
His daughter's in. Did I say son? His daughter's in Donkey Punch.
okay. You're gonna have to
Okay,
help me out
I'll
unless
give you
you've
it.
got it, Kim.
No, I do know the daughter, but I can't
It
think of the
is
dad's
A
name.
Quiet Place. Ray, win, stun.
Ray with
And if you're telling me that's more niche than Hugo Myers,
Hugo Myatt place.
Treyguard in Nightmare, I'll have your guts for garters.
Right. I'm gonna text someone in a bit, and I'm gonna screenshot you, and I'm gonna send both of you his answer when he gets it immediately.
He'll message you back saying, "Who is this?" I guarantee you. Okay. A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of invasion by alien creatures with ultra-sensitive hearing, but she survives for a while because people are always shouting and telling people to escape. But what are they saying?
So
I've only done the day one bit, not the Quiet Place bit. If that helps in any
the
way.
day one bit.
What would you shout and tell someone to escape? That rhymes with day one.
Hey, run! A quiet
Yes,
place. Hey, run!
Correct. A Quiet Place. Hey, run! And then you get slurped off. You're done.
Okay. So hang on. The dogs are kicking. It's not a quiet place here right now. Now let me yell at these, and then I will be back.
Xenomorph's going to get you any second. if
Yeah,
that
I'm getting thumped if
I got one
careful.
more.
Yeah,
got
you
one
do that
more.
one. And I'll do one at the end.
Okay. A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultra-sensitive hearing, and she gets herself a lovely freebie of pizza. Yes, that's right. She doesn't
Pay
exchange
nothing.
any. Well, exactly.
Doesn't
Pay
pay
none.
nothing.
Place, pay none for this pizza. Well, no, because I was thinking because the apocalypse. Oh yeah, that'll hold up well in court. See you later. Citizens arrest.
Mine is a little similar to that one, Ben, but it's different enough, I think, and it's less obscure than Hugo Myatt day one. So a woman named Sam finds herself trapped not in New York, but in the countryside during an invasion of monsters with
Cheltenham.
incredibly sensitive hearing. Unfortunately, even though she's quite safe from the monsters outside of the noisy city, she does have a problem keeping her farm animals fed after all the dry grass appears to have run out. They ask
Hey,
about
none.
it. That's it. A quiet place. Yeah. Hey, none. I'm afraid.
Oh, hey,
So,
none.
a quiet place! Exclamation mark. Hey, question mark. None.
It's like, no,
think-
money down.
I mean,
throw away? No. Eat. Throw
You know
away?
when you-
Do not eat. The advice on all
Sometimes-
packets of silica gel.
Oh, but that's just tempting. Makes me want to eat it even more.
Yeah.
When we
Way.
start an edition of the name game, sometimes I think, oh, I ain't so sure about mine. I don't know if this is going to be a good edition. Always proved wrong. Always proved wrong.
And sometimes you get absolute gold like a Hugo Myatt place. Absolutely.
Go my place. Let's see it. Okay, we've got to rate the movie A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Rate good or rate bad. Kim, how would you rate A Quiet Place? Ray Winston.
What have I rated it out of?
A to F.
Pluses
A
and
to F.
minuses are allowed as well.
I think I would give it like an A, because I think the first two for me were like A pluses. I think they were really great. I think this one, because it was a bit more like actiony and you got to see a lot more of the monsters, made it a little less interesting. But then I really enjoyed like all the character stuff and the main character. So I think it just was a little bit less good than the first two for me, but still like amazing and a lot better than a lot of other like apocalypse and alien films and things that I've seen. I think they just do it really really well. And yeah, I think I feel like the story is probably done, but I would be interested to see if they do more. I would definitely watch them. And I think this is probably the only series that I can think of that I've definitely seen every single one in the cinema as well, because it just feels like such an experience. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's really interesting.
brilliant. So an A, Andy, what you saying?
I am going to go a B. And I warmed up to this film, I think. At first, when I started, I was like, really great cast on this. But I think I began feeling this is a little bit like a DLC. Lovely little nice bit of extra flavor for you, but if you're in a cold light of day, unnecessary, right? I didn't need to see it. It's not going to add anything that I didn't already know. It's not going to change the franchise. It's an optional clause in this movie with characters who we knew couldn't really have any stake in the ongoing series because it's a prequel. So what are they going to do with them? But I was really drawn in by the dynamic between the characters, not just the pussycat, but like the by the others as well, like the dynamic between our two leads, the some of the action set pieces. Again, it sometimes did feel a little bit like it was like a greatest hits of, okay, now there's going to be a water bit, and now there's a church bit, and now there's a boss. But I still really enjoyed it, and I think I was really carried through by the way the characters relate to each other. So it was a lot of fun, and it's a fun world to exist in. And I would love to just see, like I said earlier, like a nice anthology series that tells a few of these different stories in different parts of the world. Bring on A Quiet Place, Day Cheltenham, please. But yeah, B, enjoyable.
I think you could have a like an anthology series in this where you like don't even really see the aliens or anything like that. It's kind of like each these individual stories at different places in the world where everyone's just got to be quiet. Be lovely, wouldn't it? You could watch it on mute. It'd be great. Um,
It's a good
I'm probably
comic
gonna give
called
this.
Quiet Ben, written by me. It's available and it came out just at the same time as Krasinski stitched me
Ah,
up with his film, the first one.
I'll be raging if I
Oh, I
was
am
you.
to this day.
You are. You should not calm
Sorry,
down.
Ben.
Not
I
calm
let my
down
rage
one.
interrupt your review.
I'll probably give her a B plus. I've made it. I think I've made it known before that A Quiet Place, in terms of the story and the first two movies, they're not my most favorite franchise ever. As a concept, I think it's all right, but I don't think it's always executed great. I feel like this is the best version of this story for me, at least. I would say I enjoyed this one the most. I feel like having it sort of kind of kick off like in the middle of New York is really interesting. I think the characters were great. Um, it was an enjoyable film enough, even what you weren't like sort of thinking, right, okay, now we need to get to another action beat. We need this, we need that. I don't know. I feel like I was along for the ride more so than the other two films. I don't know. I don't know why. I think I found it much easier to pick apart those films than this one. So yeah, I think it's my favorite, and I think like usually from a horror movie perspective, it's rare that like a prequel to a couple of original films are my favorite. But yeah, I think it is B plus.
There you go.
There we go. We all pretty positive on it there, which is good. I'm glad it wasn't a total pointless washout,
Yeah,
which could have
franchises
happened.
have been hit and miss the last couple of years, so it's nice to see one continuing to
Hmm.
perform
Yeah.
consistently well.
There we go then. That is A Quiet Place, day one. Thank you very much for joining us, Kim. Where can our listeners find you online and read some of the articles that we've been discussing today as well?
Yeah, so I write for my own blog, which is called Little Red Horror. I used to write for Ghouls magazine. We sadly stopped publishing any new content a couple of months ago, but all our old stuff is still up on the site, so you can still go and have a read of that. And you can get me I'm on Instagram and TikTok as Little Red Horror, and I'm on Twitter or X, I should say, as Wicked Sister 69. But
Continue to
yeah.
say Twitter, it's fine.
Yeah, I know. It's because I used to work in social media, so I was always trying to like make sure I stayed out of it. But I'm just like, no, it's Twitter. Yeah. So like I said, I'm writing about Clock this month, and then both Stepfathers. I haven't watched any of them yet, but I'm excited to. It's always fun to watch something new and then immediately have to write
Yeah.
about it and hope that it's good.
Well, I look forward to reading which is your favorite of the
Mm.
Stepfathers. Is it Nip Tuckman, or is it Mr. Locke from Lost, original stepfather?
Do you know what? I've got on the what channel was it? It wasn't the horror channel. It's one of the weird channels on Virgin, like Great Movies or something. I've actually got like the Stepfather 2 and 3 taped as well on my TiVo box. So I've got I could do a whole like deep dive
Yeah.
series.
Stepfather
Well,
trilogy.
what...
How many people will be strangled with neckties? Based on the covers of those movies,
yeah.
a fair few.
Feels like a lot, yeah. I'll see what the first one's like, and then I'll decide if the sequels are, are worth it.
Quick prediction. I tell you what, we'll reconvene and talk about this. Necktie stranglings is one thing. I feel like a Stepfather movie. Someone's going to be killed with a push down the stairs. How many in that series? Let's place our bets now. I'm going to go with 2 push down the stairs deaths in that trilogy of films.
What about a belt, or is that too cliche?
Yeah, that's a dad murder thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any more dad murders? Some sort of fishing boat or slippers incident? He's going to kill you by being in charge of the remote control too much.
You're going to batter you with the remote control.
Turn the thermostat up and like boil people alive, or turn it down and freeze them to death. Yeah,
you turn it down. You turn it down. This is
his weakness is refusing. His weakness is continuing to call him by his first name instead of dad. This is kryptonite. Get him some artisanal chocolate, a beer, a 6-pack of craft beers. Like a vampire having to count rice. He has to drink all of them. Sorry.
I've got to drink them, and I've got to log them on my craft beer app and give them a mark out of 5 before I kill you. Right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to all of our patrons over there. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Horror Hangout Podcast. You'll find us next week. We're talking about Maxine Minx in Maxine. That's right, I pronounced all of the X's there. With special guest Georgie Broad returning to the show. Looking forward to that.
Sure am.
Sure am. Now, everybody, when you go to bed, be nice and quiet. Creep up the stairs. Don't wake anybody up. Have
if your
some
cat goes missing, don't worry, he'll be back.
He'll be back. He'll be fine.
Turn you back for a second. He'll be right down.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
See you later, everyone. For goodness sake. Right, don't let me snap your head off. See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.